going, as well as obviously you've got to hit the ball straight so you can take croquet, but you need to approach your hoop and run it as well. And certainly round hoop 1, play 4 or 5 approaches. 10 minutes is quite a long warm-up time, and you should be able to fit in shooting, approaching hoops, running hoops, and things like approaching hoop 2 from corner 2.
Do you have a set schedule of things
set
to
set
do?
for 5 minutes and set for 10 minutes, and different for both codes, obviously. You're trying different things. Anyway, looks like we're about to start. We mentioned yesterday each of the players gets to win 1 toss against their opponent in one series and lose it in the other half. And I think pretty much everyone so far who's won it has opted to go first, and Harry's going to persevere with very aggressive lines of play, which is what you would normally do, but I still find it a bit surprising. 0 out of 3, do you really want to put a super shot out? He's actually put that quite deep. So
maybe he knows that Coach is going to go to corner 2.
So do you think you're going to not shoot at it and just join up?
As Harry? No, I think he'll shoot it. I think maybe he's just...
No, he'll shoot.
He'll put in black deep, further in the lawn so it's closer to red maybe. Thinking that's where David's going to go.
I just think it's almost in the most difficult place you can put it to approach from corner 2. Oh. Deep and narrow. And we know this shot into corner 2 is not flat.
What's David doing here?
David looks like going on the... This is very unusual. So, I guess one reason he might be thinking he doesn't want to shoot a 4th turn into corner 2, because it's not as flat as he wants. Normally when you go over here, it's because you're fancying yellow at black 4th turn from A bulk, and he's going to try and encourage Harry to shoot blue at red from corner 1, but red's not far enough south for that. Harry's just going to shoot blue at red from B bulk, he says as Harry walks towards corner 1. I mean,
didn't look like that.
I think you could shoot.
You have to shoot from B bulk.
You don't have to.
You do have to shoot from... yeah, I'm going to say you have to shoot from B bulk. It's a I have no understanding about where this shot's coming from. It's 10 yards longer.
It is.
It doesn't give less away.
Might do.
I suppose if you're worried about missing by 3 balls on the right and leaving a double, then it's less likely to leave a double.
Good camera angle for the shot.
And that would possibly have hit from B bulk.
Yeah.
I just think that's wrong.
I would have shot from B bulk personally, but
normally we discuss options, and there are pros and cons for each option. I can't see anything that makes that shot better than the shot from B bulk. I have no positive about that shot.
Well,
he's not joined up with red.
One thing maybe there's more distance between.
So if David hits something, he's not going to get a rush. If he hit black, say, with yellow, he's not going to.
Well, I was thinking more this double. I was thinking more this double for
this double
David.
This is a horrible double.
Yeah, whereas if he'd have missed from B bulk, it might be a better double for David.
Yeah, well,
that could be
definitely would be. Yeah,
that might be one reason you might do what Harry's done.
Oh, if you're going to do this, don't you shoot at black?
Yeah, black's long. If black's 2 yards shorter, I don't object as much, but black's long.
It's not. Is it as long as this?
It's about the same distance, I think.
Yeah, and you've got more lawn to deal with here.
You do. I don't think this is particularly on flat. I think it goes a little bit right to left.
And when you miss, you are joining up with Harry.
You might be joining up with Harry if you miss on the left. If you miss on the right, you might not be.
Oh, he's okay. I couldn't actually see where Harry's ball was. I assumed he was further north.
No, he shot from quite a wide angle, so he was always going to go. Well, I suppose he missed on the left, so he could have gone another 2 yards 2.5 yards further north. So it looks in the middle of it. Oh, almost went through the middle. It's super shot. And I think that's a break now.
It should be. Yeah.
Nice replay coming up here. And you can just see, David must be thinking there's no way this can miss. It's actually gone the opposite way to the way I think it was going to go. It's gone fractionally
into thin
left. Well, one of the things about the replays is they only show a sort of cut of 5 or 10 seconds, so it's difficult to always catch everything.
Now, any mileage and just stick your ball out to 2? Or you're going to always try and get a rush?
I'm always going to try and get a rush on red to black.
I find people underhit that rush. The rush he's about to get.
Yes.
I don't rush it far enough south.
Correct.
And can't get a ball back to 2.
Exactly.
For some bizarre reason.
Yeah.
Stephen did it yesterday, I noticed.
It is strange, isn't it?
It is straight. I've done it.
As have I, yeah. But I think focusing on getting that rush, and he hasn't got a great rush. He'll be able to rush it onto a good rush line, and focus on getting a good rush to 1. But it's going to be a split shot. There is something to be said for just rushing on top of black. You've got blue.
Well, yes, you've got blue near to, can't you?
You've got all 4 balls. Do you need to move your ball 3 yards, 4 yards to get a rush on black? Or do you just get a dolly rush to 1 and then rush back to blue somewhere and it's all easy shots? Looks like David was looking at giving himself enough room to get a ball up towards 2. That's pretty much where he looked at going.
Well, he's got the room to get a ball to 2. Can he get the rush to 1?
Correct. So if you had to pick a winner, Jack, after day 1...
What, of the event you mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's so wide open.
It is, isn't it? There's not anyone that you feel like's staking a claim at the minute.
Well, yesterday, Chris, you said James, didn't you?
I did. Oh, James.
Clear favourite.
James is clearly the best player here.
Yeah.
But is he going to have too much fun? Is there such a thing as too much fun? Yellow's just gone a little bit too far there.
So what did we say Samir's on? 3, is he?
2 out of 4,
2,
I think. Or 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3,
Yeah, so I'd probably
So he was my...
Probably go for Samir. Not that I haven't seen him play, so that's not based on anything other than that he's on 2 out of 3.
We'll see him later today.
Yeah.
And James.
Yeah.
I don't feel like, even though Robin's had a good start and Gabs, I don't feel like they're going to be in it towards the end. But I might be wrong.
I think Gabriel did something I've never done. I played in this event 18 times. I don't think I ever won my first 3 games. So,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
I'd be unknown territory as Gabrielle's position here. And certainly she looked comfortable on the lawn with that triple we saw her do yesterday. Once she got past trying to dig out the standard TP,
Well, I was
she
going
made...
to ask you who you thought played the best of the people we saw.
Robin. Well, obviously not in that particular game.
Well, yeah.
He played... I thought as the entire day went, he was stroking the ball so nicely.
He only made 1 error in that game, didn't he?
He missed his return after 3.
Yeah.
Before 3, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Having played the big roll up from corner 4.
Yeah, he didn't do anything else other than that, did he?
He didn't seem to do much. But did he fail hoop 1? I think he
did,
failed
he
hoop
did,
1 as
yeah,
well.
He did fail hoop 1, yeah.
So it wasn't a good game at all. Not a lot to choose for me. I had Samir as my fantasy pick.
Well, he's won it, hasn't he, before?
Yeah,
And that counts for something.
Twice. I just think he's shot well all year. And certainly some of the choices he took. Robin Brown went round third turn against him yesterday and made a defensive spread, and Samir shot from B-bulk at the ball on the west boundary, which was, you know, the most aggressive shot on the lawn. Missed and Robin finished. So David's through hoop 1, left himself a little bit longer a shot than he would like. I only got a quarter of it.
How long has he been doing this knee bend?
Yeah, that
thing?
is new.
I don't remember seeing that before.
It's a bit nervy, isn't it?
I think it
looks
is.
nervy,
Yeah.
yes.
But I think David does play a tight break, doesn't he? So here, I think we will see a break with nice pioneers.
We should do.
How would you measure, if you measure good play or assessing players' play? I like to look at how short the hoops are that they run.
My primary two things I look at are how far the striker's ball travels during the turn, and how far the pioneers are away from the hoops. But
I always think someone's playing well if you look at every shot they're playing and you think it's an easy shot.
yes,
I think that's quite a good indicator that they're playing well. You know, if you never have to play any difficult shots. This is not a very good takeoff, though, is it?
It's a really bad takeoff.
Yeah.
But for people who are watching who might have decided to take off at blue, this is why you take off in lawn. If that had been taken off at blue, it would be off the lawn now. So he's played the right type of shot, he's played it poorly, and he's still got away with it.
No, a knee bender.
And I think one of the reasons he's done that is, compared to when I was here at 6 o'clock last night, and now the lawns are faster. That quite heavy rain we had yesterday has seeped through, all dispersed. The lawns at Hurlingham will be cut every morning. They might even be rolled, I don't know, but they're lovely playing conditions and definitely quicker than they were after the rain yesterday. So I think that's 4 quite good definitions of, is someone playing well?
Yeah.
Yes, I like yours, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, there's
If
nothing.
they're always playing easy shots.
There's nothing nicer,
That's-
is there,
that's
than
a
having
good
a 4-ball break and you're just playing each shot, you know, and it's easy.
It's a lovely pioneer, but it's not a very good yellow. And back in the day when we were playing in the 80s and everyone was playing with a 9-inch mallet, apart from Mulliner, these sort of 2.5, 3-yarders got missed occasionally, didn't they?
Yes.
And no one ever misses a 2.5, 3-yarder nowadays, if they're trying to hit it in the middle. And it's almost made the game too easy. It's a bit like the big-headed drivers at golf. Your 18 handicappers are now 9 handicappers, and I'm talking about myself here. I used to be an 18, and then the equipment improved, and I was soon down to single figures.
So I've got some technology now, so we've got comments. We can easily see the comments on the YouTube, so anybody's watching wants to join in or make any comments, ask any questions, let us know and we can see them. Rob Edlin White's pointing out David Goetsche's style is a bit unorthodox, perhaps.
Yeah, so if we're coaching someone, we always say don't play split grip. We're saying play with your hands together and get the swing coming from the shoulders. And David is very much a wrist pivot, particularly using his right hand. And it's not as reliable as using the long levers from your shoulders. Using your wrist, they can move in so many different directions, where your shoulders are much better at just moving in one direction. But this is how he's played throughout his career.
Probably been playing like that for 40 years, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And you know, there are other good things about David. He's very stable in his stance. So I think that's important, to have a good base on which to play all these shots.
Did you see much of watch Stephen yesterday?
I've watched a lot of Stephen this year.
Did you? Because I watched him and I've not seen him for a while, but I felt like he had his feet a bit further apart than he used to have.
Yeah. So he's tried all sorts of different things over the past 2 years. So sort of 3 years ago, he lost power, particularly at GC.
Okay.
And he made some tweaks to his technique, and he became a lot more wristy, generated a lot more power, and had an unbelievably good season last year.
Yeah.
This year, he's again fiddling around, but he hasn't found that perfect mix of whatever he needs to get his form back. And I think particularly, you mentioned his stance is wider, but I think he's also occasionally moving forward when he's striking the ball and almost walking after it.
He's always done that a little bit, hasn't he?
Occasionally, when he's not playing at his best. When he's playing at his best, he's stable.
He's very stable. That's what I wondered, whether with he's moved his feet apart. Is that what he's looking for? A bit more stability? I don't know what other reason there'd be.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably it. And
But he didn't do it all the time.
No, it seemed to be on the bigger shots, didn't it? The more medium length shots.
well, I think it was. I won't say who it was, but I had a conversation with someone, and they'd had a chat with Stephen about what he did when he was playing, because they said, look, it looks like you're not occasionally doing the same thing.
Right.
And he said, well, I come to the club and I've got 6 potential methods of playing.
Right.
And I start with one, and then I work through them until I find one that works.
Okay.
And not what I would recommend, but he's played for 45 years now, and I think it's very good for players to know potential fixes to their game.
Yeah.
You know, if you're always missing to the right, what's your fix?
Well, do you watch the darts?
I do occasionally
Do you
watch some
know
darts.
Peter Wright? He's always fiddling around with
Right.
his throw and his darts. And
Okay.
that's one of the things the commentators say on the darts is why, I think he's won the World Championships twice. And they say, why you keep changing? And that's what he says. He just said, I just feel like I just need to fiddle around, change something.
Yeah, and I do something a bit similar in that I've got 2 grip strengths, and I normally start off with a light grip, and then particularly at GC, as you get deeper in the tournament, I go to a much firmer grip, as you're trying to play more difficult shots and harder shots. So I do a little bit of that, but I don't have 6 methods of doing it.
This
Early hoop 6 pound there.
crying
Keith.
out for an early hoop 6 pioneer, but he didn't put, when he approached the hoop, he didn't send it east, which is what I would have done.
Yeah, so black's not going to be in the best of pivot positions, is it?
It's just being left behind. For
Well,
now.
if you're going to leave black there, it might as well be a hoop 6, mightn't it?
Yeah, the thing I would have tried to have done with David's previous shot is rush black into blue,
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
so that you could have put a hoop 6 pioneer out rather than leaving it there. Because whilst I like having a pivot, I don't like having a pivot there. I'd much rather have an early hoop 6
Well,
pioneer.
yeah, exactly. If that's where your pivot is, you're better off having a hoop 6 pioneer.
And if he'd have just rushed black into blue and given himself a yard of space, that was a potential line of play.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing that you can do, and if you completely miss blue, it doesn't really matter, does it? You've not got an awful position.
No, you
So
can
it was a free attempt to do that.
Yeah, arguably you could even have put your pivot 5 yards further south, which might have been even better.
Yeah.
And David likes NSLs, I think. So we saw a few diagonal spreads and a few NSLs yesterday. I think David often plays all 4 balls down to 3 back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yes,
One
he
thing
does,
about the
yeah.
NSL is you can keep the balls together up until the last hoop, can't you?
Yep.
So let's say black was, I don't know, 12 yards further south.
Yeah.
So it's a pivot.
Yeah.
Are you putting red to 6?
I
or
am.
Are you swapping them over and
No, I'll put red to 6.
so you're not having an early 2
No.
back part there?
No.
Well, you don't have to have an early 2-back pioneer, do you, Keith?
No, you don't. It's
All right.
just no, it's just that I like playing easy shots,
Yeah.
moving the balls shorter distances.
Yeah, I mean, knowing why you're doing it is good, isn't it? Because I think sometimes players sort of, you watch from learning, don't you?
You do.
And perhaps some players maybe just copy what they've seen, which is fine, without understanding,
Yeah.
why it's being done.
This is quite a good example, because if black's at hoop 6 and you get this type of rush, I think you're in a really bad position. I'm going to have to play a roll or something. I hate playing this. I'd rather have my pivot, and I will play a whole load of little sequences of little drives and stop shots, and the back ball won't move very far at all.
I mean, I would tend, if I could put my pivot anywhere, in having, approached hoop 4,
Yeah.
I would have it somewhere between sort of 4 and 5, a little bit north of 5 somewhere probably.
Yeah, a little bit north of 5 and a little bit east of 5.
So that you can just, like you say, if you don't get any rush, you can just make an easy roquet and you've got a nice straight shot.
But equally in this position, having put a ball to hoop 5, I might have gone to my pivot and sent my pivot to hoop 5 because blue's not in front of it. So I might have had a chance to improve my pivot.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing, isn't it? With your early pioneers, you're losing opportunities to improve bad pioneers.
Yes. Yeah, you are.
If you've pioneered.
Now he's played a really good shot there, but if he hadn't have played a really good shot, he might have been forced with a takeoff from black to blue. Because it's,
Yeah.
you don't want to take off from black to blue. Blue is not a good pioneer, and he needed to play that good croquet stroke to get that rush on black, and now it'll all be tidy again. He won't get the early 2-back pioneer probably.
Well, not partner anyway.
Not partner. If you're going to send all 4 balls to 3-back, it's not a big issue.
It's a good shot.
And I don't always have an early 2-back pioneer. I think the thing you have to be careful of if you're in this position where you've got partner at hoop 6 is positioning the pivot somewhere sensible before you make hoop 6, because it's quite easy to not think about where you put the pivot before you make hoop 6 and then realise when you make hoop 6, it's fairly difficult to get a 2-back pioneer. Whereas if you leave your pivot somewhere between, on the line, maybe between hoops 1 and 2, peg high, something like that, maybe a little bit further north, it's still, you make hoop 6, you naturally rush eastwards afterwards, and it's still a fairly short shot to put out your 2-back pioneer. But if you leave your pivot near the peg, it can get more tricky depending on which side of the hoop it's on, which side of the hoop you put your reception ball on. And people don't tend to look at whether they should have it on the east or the west.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, where you put the pivot's always a bit of a compromise, isn't it?
It is.
If you think, well, I'm going to get a rush out of this next hoop.
Yeah.
You might have if you knew that was going to happen, you'd probably put the pivot in a different place than where you actually put it, because you always sort of put it in what if I don't get a rush out of this hoop? What sort of croquet stroke I'm going to have to play? Well, in that case, I need the pivot a bit nearer the hoop that I'm making now.
The thing with hoop 6 is you are looking for a backward rush, aren't you? Which is probably easier to obtain than a forward rush. So I think you could be more sure that you're going to get a rush out, especially if you've got a good pioneer.
Yeah, if you're making an MSL, so you're wanting a ball on the back of hoop 2, I think there's less encouragement to having the early 2-back pioneer, because you really want to rush out of hoop 6 to hoop 2 if you've left an early 2-back pioneer. So if I'm making a MSL, sometimes I don't do that. And the other thing I was going to mention is when you're playing with really difficult hoops, I move the pivot into completely wild places. So I'll have the pivot so I can hit it if I have to run the hoop by 10 yards. So even to extreme points, like I might move the pivot towards the end of B bulk when I'm making hoop 6.
Marcus is saying if it's raining, have as many early pioneers as you can to get off the lawn quicker.
Aha. Reduce the number of shots. Well, maybe do a little 2-ball break as well at some stage, Marcus. So Jenny's been teaching sort of biomechanics at university for a while, and she's saying about this grip and split hands, that having the hands apart allows the hands to work against each other more. And yeah, from a biomechanic point of view, you do tend to want the hands acting as a unit. And I think, you know, you don't see golfers gripping a golf club with their hands split, do you, Keith?
No.
Everything's trying to get the two hands acting in unison. And that's very similar to croquet. One of the guys in the world I really like the grip of is Ahmed El Mahdi, and he has an overlapping grip. So he actually uses his hands almost together.
That's what I was just going to say. Rutger used to do that.
Rutger did, exactly. Yeah. So I have mentioned before, I think as time progresses we'll see more players try that option out of that overlapping grip. You need to have some actual physical strength to do it.
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying to Rob, who's sort of talking about coaching beginners, that is very unnatural for a beginner, isn't it? It's very, very difficult for somebody who's new to croquet to start playing with their hands at the top of the mallet. So I think, you know, beginners are going to have their hands split in reality, aren't they? And then it's over the course of time you're going to try and encourage them to move their hands further up as they get more confident in swinging a mallet. I think we forget how much coordination is actually required to swing a croquet mallet and actually just hit the striker's ball. You know, if I sort of give a mallet to my wife, you know, she'd struggle to make contact with the ball. She's not a croquet player. So you have to remember where people are starting from. But yeah, it's a progression over time, isn't it? You're trying to move their hands up the mallet as they get better.
Yeah, so I won the Presidents in here my first time, 88, with a split grip.
Yeah.
Quite significantly split. Top hand only really touching the mallet with 2 or 3 fingers, and the bottom hand, you know, a good, you know, 9 inches below that. And then over the next 2 or 3 years, I moved the bottom hand up.
Yeah.
As I became stronger.
And people can play well, can't they, with a split grip? But the reason that you know, we're saying have your hands together is just over time you get a more consistent result.
Yeah.
So, you know, people like David, I think Chris mentioned it, had a very good tournament earlier this year or last year. So these things do happen. And there's another chap, isn't there, Dominic Nuns, who has got a fairly unconventional grip.
James Death.
James Death,
there are lots of unconventional styles,
but they are still successful.
They are. Jenny mentioned the point, so that's not a great shot there. He's failed to get a rush on red. So
Fire slap for you there.
Yeah. Jenny's mentioning that when you've got a beginner and they've got their hands apart, instead of encouraging them just to move their bottom hand up, you can encourage them to move their top hand a little bit further down as a halfway house until they gradually feel more comfortable, and over time that can turn into a better technique.
And I think it's having your hands at the top of the mallet is fairly reliant on having a mallet that's the right length, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you need to have, if you've got a really, really long mallet, but you're quite short like me, you're never going to get your hands at the top of the mallet. So when you're thinking about buying a mallet, you need to make sure it's the right length. And I'm still of the opinion that a lot of people have mallets that are too long in the shaft. If your mallet's shorter, it tends to be easier to get your hands towards the top of it.
Again, another thing Jenny's mentioned is David struggles with power, and it's not a big thing at AC having powerful single ball strokes, but David played in the Golf Croquet Open in June, and he played lovely positional shots, and he was quite good at clearing gently from 7 yards away, which are important skills. But when it came to the power clearance, to sort of stamp your authority on a hoop, he couldn't do that. He didn't have that power shot.
No, and then if you're trying to force that power, you substitute extreme, trying for that extreme power, you substitute accuracy, don't you? So
body movement comes into it.
You lose accuracy in where you're hitting the ball to try and generate more power.
Yeah. So this is how Jenny makes her NSL, and she rushes the opponent ball at 2 back up the lawn, and then rushes red back down to black. I'm not a big fan of it, but he had to do it because he didn't get a rush on red. But he still will make probably quite a good lead from here, and his last few Pioneers have been imperfect.
He is somebody that prioritises making a good leave. He's very keen on keeping the innings if he can.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, we all should be, but his perhaps shooting is less good than some of the other players.
Yeah.
So he really is trying to make a good leave, make sure there's no double targets, make sure it's as long as possible.
I think one of the things we found with Super Advanced was that the standard of the English players' lift leaves, were getting worse. We had a couple of them at Robertson Shields where these very, very good players were only getting a good leave half the time, and leaving balls open on diagonal spreads, and not getting the NSL ball at 3 back and having to split up. And there's really no excuse for not getting a good leave on a lawn like this when you've got a 4-ball break. That blue's absolutely fine there. He'll be putting black on the back of 3 back, or the front of hoop 4, the left hand side of hoop 4, probably a couple of inches off the hoop, so it'll rush to hoop 1 easily. So he wants to rush black, probably not dead in front, but just fractionally short, so he can croquet it to a good position. And red is his escape ball. And talking about that power issue, when I've got a youngster comes along and I've got a 12, 13 year old, I'm starting to do what the golf pros are doing, which is they're saying the first important thing to get them to learn is to hit the ball hard.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if you can do that when you're 12 and 13, you end up with a sort of limitless power.
You can improve the accuracy later.
And yeah, if you can play at 80% power, it means you can just play with so much more control.
Yeah,
you're not thrashing at things, you've just got the natural power there. And I know that's now a golf pro technique, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I mean, someone like James Deef has got, as much power, probably one of the most powerful players, but he never looks like he's hitting the ball hard. If you see him hitting the ball, if you see him and you think, oh, he's going to hit this hard, he's probably playing some, really, really fine cut rush or something like that.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it just looks like he's having a nice swing through the ball.
Yep.
And that's just technique, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, he's very tall, isn't he? He's got a long mallet, so that definitely helps.
It's a big help, and it's one of the things that is a big advantage for males, and I like watching the lady players, the women, and try and work out how the people who hit it hard do it.
Yeah.
Because you watch someone like Soha Mustafa, and she's a petite lady.
Right.
She's not tall, she's not, large, she's very petite, and she has huge amounts of power.
Is that sort of from her muscles though, generated?
It's a whip through.
Yeah.
And it's
so that's more of a physical thing, whereas James's power is more a natural sort of tempo of his mallet, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's got a long lever, effectively,
Yeah.
hasn't he? And the Egyptians use what we'd call club head speed or mallet head speed.
Yeah.
To generate their power, so very light mallets.
But their body is physically pushing the mallet through.
It is.
And that's fine as well, isn't it? But the thing with that is, it's got to be repeatable on every time. And if your body makes a certain movement to generate that power, it has to do the same thing every time.
Yeah.
Which is
Tougher.
more difficult to always repeat the same movements.
So David's got black in this looks ideal place and can now rush to the boundary, where black won't be able to hit it because it's got a hampered backswing, and blue can't hit black because the hoop's in the way from A bulk.
Oh, he's let me down.
You don't like
He
this,
does, he
Keith, do
hates
you?
this.
Let me
One of
down.
his little-
I thought he was going to manage to play this without checking that the end of A bolt.
I always go and check.
I think there's other things that you need to get more annoyed about, Keith. You don't need to get annoyed about people checking the end of a bulk.
I had, I think it was Don Beck talking to me at a golf croquet event recently, and he's saying, I want the hoops painted. I can't see them. I might fall over them. And I was thinking, but they're in the same place, Don. You've been playing 30 years. You should know where they are. And they've all got white tops on them. And he said he couldn't see the white tops.
Here we go, look. Still hasn't moved, David.
What we did have about 25 years ago, David take 8 minutes to play the last stroke of his turn, trying to move what is now the yellow ball to the perfect place and keeping wandering back, occasionally walking over to blue just to have a double check of blue, but walking to the end of A bulk. And I think, to be fair to David, he's much faster. He's playing at a faster pace than he used to.
I think if it gets to the last day and he's in contention, I think we might see him slowing down again.
Focusing a bit
Yes.
more. Rather than this sloppy, haphazard.
Yeah. He's got his visor on today, which is always a favourite.
So the rush here, you can either leave it at blue, which is the standard thing to do, particularly with blue close to a boundary,
I think he's leave it to blue.
or you can leave it at hoop 1. It's an interesting place.
Why would you ever leave it pointing at hoop 1?
Well, you're trying to encourage them to take the longest shot possible. If they think, oh well, he's got to rush all the way to 1 and then he might not make hoop 2, and I'm thinking that blue's a perfectly good pioneer, I'm going to croquet behind that every time, and I'm going to get partnered to hoop 3, and I'm going to roll up from corner 4, and I'm going to have a standard TP. And people are going, no, that's too difficult, and I'm going, no, that's easy. So it's what Rob does. He makes things look more difficult. Players go, this looks a bit tricky, I'm going to corner, and then they shake hands next time they walk on the lawn. So
David looks happy.
And I think the good thing I'm going to note here is how wide he's left this rush. This is a much longer rush than I would leave myself, and Harry didn't shoot well yesterday, and I don't really want to leave the balls 2 feet apart for him, but that is a long rush. You've got to be playing well to leave yourself that. Blue's only a yard in from the boundary, and I think Harry will lift black and take the long shot. And he's not doing, he's walking over to blue. But I think I'd be looking at this and going, David might only hit this half ball. I'm going to take something defensive, black
Yeah,
at
I
red.
would have said that David I would have expected him to leave himself a shorter rush than that.
Is it a double? It's a double. That explains this shot. So, carelessly didn't take his 8 minutes over his last shot. I think that is the...
Casual.
He's rushing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Someone needs to tell him to slow down.
At Hurlingham, if you left this double target, it's very, very attractive. It goes fairly straight. Harry looking at it, and he's missed.
And we get to see whether he's going to...
Well, he's definitely... I think he's going to have the
north
angle.
or south?
I think it's north. I think he's going to have the angle.
So we're going
for
to
the
find
promotion.
out whether he's going to do your promotion.
Do you think he's coming on north of red?
I think so.
I think you might be right.
I think it's almost the perfect place.
Yeah.
So in case people... Sorry. Yeah, it's sport. Some people will call it sport, some people will call it a game. But lots of sports in the world. And yeah, it's one person playing against another. This is a question from Lindsay Ford. What's it supposed to be? It's quite a good sport, actually. It's lasted 170 years, so there's got to be something in favour that it's actually worked. I'm not sure the breakdancing is going to make it to the next Olympics. So
Maybe we could combine the two.
I think David would be good at that, wouldn't he?
Well, he's got the visor.
Yeah. So, are these balls in contact? And the reason we're asking is if they're not, they look like they're very close. I think they're in contact.
Yeah, he put them in contact, I think.
So, I tend to play the pseudo cannon, the open
so I
cannon
was going
here,
to say you can try and rotate yellow.
which would be sending blue to hoop 2 and red going into yellow in the same shot.
It's more difficult than you think it is, but it's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, this way David's going to end up with yellow as his hoop 2 partner, which isn't ideal. And he's also going to have to play the big croquet stroke from down towards corner 4. He might opt to rush it off level with hoop 4, which is playable. But I think I'd have played the open cannon. I know even if I missed the open cannon, I've probably got a 3-yarder.
Yeah, you're not going to go far past. This is the shot that you don't like, Keith. Now he's got to play, sending his hoop 2 pioneer out and getting a rush.
Shot.
Now, lots of these minority sports are quite good, aren't they? Things like real tennis has been around for a long time. Quite a skillful game. Yeah, you don't get 60,000 people turn up to watch it. That doesn't mean it's not a good game. I think Callum Hyland's father, who's just started playing croquet five years ago, was a real tennis world champion.
All right. Yeah.
And
Well, the good thing is you don't have to watch this, do you, if you don't want to?
no, it's a personal choice, isn't it? I think we're seeing nowadays potentially less appealing to modern people who are sort of in the 15-minute attention span. They want something sort of done, and you know, it's American soaps and cartoons, and no one wants to watch a film for 2.5 hours now.
Oh, that's quite good.
Very good red,
Yeah.
and that's the ball you need to focus on.
He's going to have to cut it away from the hoop by the look of it.
Yeah, it only looks like it needs a 10-degree cut.
Right. So Lindsay is trying to get her head around what's actually going on.
Yep.
Doesn't have any understanding of croquet, so that's a good thing. We've reached somebody new, which is part of the reason we're doing this streaming of these events. So the object of the game is that there's essentially two sides. So in this game there's one player, which is on the lawn now, playing another player. This player on the lawn has red and yellow as his sides balls, and the other player has blue and black. The object is to score all of the hoops. So there's 6 hoops on the court. You have to go through each of those hoops in a specific order, first going through one way and then back round the other way. You have to do that with both of your balls. The first person to do that and then hit both of their balls onto the peg in the middle is the winner. So that's the aim. The ways to achieve that are quite numerous, and there's a sequence of shots that you're seeing that rely on the previous stroke.
So he's played what we call a roquet, and that was red hitting black over towards where he is now, and after that roquet he picks the red up and he places it in contact with wherever the black's finished, and he gets 2 shots from there.
Yeah.
The first is called a croquet stroke, where both balls have to move,
And that's unique, isn't it, to
It is.
croquet,
Yeah.
where you playing a shot where both balls are in contact with each other.
yes, you don't find that at snooker or billiards.
No.
And the second shot is a continuation shot, and with the continuation shot you've either got to hit one of the other balls or run your hoop, and you can see the red clip on top of this hoop indicating that this is the hoop that red is for. So if David doesn't run the hoop, it will be the end of his turn and Harry will come on and play
Yeah.
his turn. But if David does run the hoop, as we anticipate he probably will, then he gets 1 bonus shot for running a hoop,
Yeah.
and he then has to either run another hoop or hit a ball again, and the obvious ball to hit is going to be black. So he's run his hoop, he'll pick his clip up.
So now he's got 1 more shot in this turn. But if he makes a roquet again, which he's going to attempt to do on black, he then gets 2 more shots.
Exactly. So he'll be building the break, trying to put the balls in. People think about Victorian times when you hit your opponent's ball in the shrubbery as a defensive measure, and here every time we're making a roquet we're trying to put the ball in a very positive position to help us create a break, so it's a useful part of the lawn.
So he's trying to, it's sort of the equivalent, isn't it, to snooker, where you're trying to score as many points as you can in one turn to win the frame. What David is trying to do now is score as many hoops in this turn as he can, and there are some rules, some additional rules around what happens when you run through certain hoops, because this is an advanced version of the game.
Yeah, so red's hit black again, that's a roquet. He picks the red up, puts it in contact with black again, and he'd like to send black up to hoop 3, which is the one with the yellow clip on the side, and because that's the one he's going to make after hoop 2, so having a ball near it will help him make the hoop, and while doing that he needs to get the red near either blue or yellow so he can get more bonus shots.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see him go towards the blue, and this shot's called a roll, and both balls will go similar distances. So hitting down on the ball, lots of different types of croquet strokes. It's the unique feature of this game. It takes a while to get the hang of them, but you can play all sorts of different shots. There we go, hits down on that, isn't happy with it. The black's gone too wide and the red's a little bit short.
All in all, that was a pretty bad shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, and had that black ball gone outside the boundary line, the white line that's marking the lawn out, it would be end of turn, because neither of his balls are allowed to leave the lawn on that croquet stroke. So that's a sort of very brief summary of what he's doing. Red's going to hit blue, that's another roquet. Pick red up, place it in contact with blue, 2 more bonus shots, and he'll go over to yellow, and the hoop 2-1 is in the bottom right hand corner as you're looking at it, or the right hand corner.
It is confusing, so you know we wouldn't expect somebody who's tuning in now to understand immediately what's going on, but hopefully, if there's an interest, you can, there is a lot of videos now on the Croquet England channel. It might be something that you would like to look into further.
I think one of the beauties of the games is you can still be learning new things after playing for 10 years. And there aren't many games, but potentially chess, you might still be learning well into your career. But,
Well, I mean, this event is the top 8 players in the country, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they're some of the best players in the country, and even this morning we were sitting, and last night, we were sitting with some of the players, and they were asking different questions that we were having conversations about. So, like you say, there's always new things to learn, and you're not going to pick it up having watched it for 10 minutes, unfortunately, which is a downside to the sport.
Yeah, we have 2 forms of croquet. This is called association croquet, and it's the old-fashioned game that started in about the 1850s. There's a newer form of the game called golf croquet, still been around quite a long time, and really, if you were able to watch that for 5 minutes, you'd probably pick that up straight away, wouldn't you?
I think that's a lot more intuitive, isn't it? And as I was going to say, sort of, people can compare croquet to bowls. The big advantage that bowls has is you can sit down and watch it for 5 minutes, and you understand exactly what it is they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a lot more difficult to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
You don't understand what they're trying to do in bowls, Keith?
Yes. Oh, okay.
I have
There's
to
quite
have
a bit of tactics involved.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
but the objective, they know, it's obvious that they're trying to get their balls near the jack.
Yes. Just a question of how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, curling's more difficult, isn't it? That needs an expert commentator to explain why they haven't.
Yeah, you get
Why they're
blockers
putting a
and
block
stuff,
instead of trying to get a scorer.
Yeah.
Um,
And I suppose that is the difficulty for us as commentators, isn't it? Is we're trying to commentate on what's happening here, cater to an audience of mainly croquet players, we would expect, who have some understanding. We might have some croquet players who are potentially could play in this event. We might have some croquet players who have been playing 5 years. We might have some croquet players that started recently. But equally, obviously, as we've seen now, there are people watching who have got no concept of what is happening. So that does present quite a big challenge to us as commentators to cater for all of those people and trying to explain what's happening.
yeah, and it is a tricky game to explain. If you give them 5 minutes, it is tricky. Golf croquet, if you want to hit a ball with a mallet, go and play some golf croquet for a little while, and then move on and start playing association croquet, which has a slightly broader range of skill sets.
Yeah, I mean, the issue we get now is that people sort of start playing golf croquet and unfortunately never
Find the wonders of this game.
Yeah, move over. But so what he's trying to do here is position yellow in front of its hoop, isn't it? On the other side of this hoop.
Yeah. So on the far side of hoop 3, which is...
This looks difficult to me.
It isn't easy. Ideally you'd like a rush on black. Yellow's average, and he hasn't got a great rush on black. So he'll now hit black again, pick up red, put it in contact with black, and this time send black all the way down to hoop 4, which is on the left hand side of the screen, but trying to get the red ball on the left hand side of blue so he can hit blue towards hoop 3, which is the next hoop he needs to score. And he is allowed to hit balls off the lawn in this shot because it's not a croquet stroke. So when a ball goes off the lawn in that croquet shot, you go and put it back on 1 yard in. And most mallets are about 36 inches. I think James's is 46 inches, isn't it? So much longer, but they vary normally between about 32 and 40.
So this is being played at the Hurlingham Club in London, which is a very nice place to be, but that doesn't mean that it's only for elite players, does it, Croquet?
No, so my club's in a public park, and
Yeah.
anyone can walk in and say, can I have a game, and pay a green fee,
Yeah.
and they can just borrow the hoops and mallets and balls, and one of the club members will come along and tell them how to play, or give them
Yeah.
some guidance if they want to. Or they can just play whatever game they play in their back garden with a tree in the middle of the lawn if they want.
Yeah, so certainly don't think that it's
It's not all heavily competitive. There's social play, but it is an international game. There are about 30 countries around the world that play, and we have world championships. And really, from the age of 13 up to, late 70s, people are playing in world championships.
Lindsay's in Leicestershire. So,
Okay.
So there's definitely a club. Well, there used to be a club in Leicester, didn't
There
there?
is a club
There
in
is
Leicester.
still a club in Leicester.
Oh, this is winking at him.
And the Croquet England website, if you go to the Croquet England website, there'll be a Find Your Nearest Club link, and that will give you all the clubs in the country, and it'll just highlight the ones that are nearest to your postcode. So he's going to try something a bit clever here, I
Is
think.
he?
I
Yes,
think
he
he's
is.
trying
think he
to
is.
play a croquet stroke where red gets in front of hoop 3, but blue cannons into yellow, nudging yellow a little bit more directly behind the hoop. And it's not as straightforward as just lining them up, because when you play a shot at an angle, the balls move, or what we call pull, in a certain direction. So he won't be aiming this up exactly where he wants to hit yellow. He'll have to aim it up a bit further right than that and hope he gauges the amount of pull correctly. All these balls, they're not smooth, they've got milling on them, so they do grip a little bit, and it just adds a little bit more difficulty to the game.
So he's going for this promotion, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I do these, I forget to approach the hoop.
You've got to focus on the striker's ball, haven't you? Red is the most important ball. Blue did hit yellow there, but it's only feathered it.
It's okay.
It's
still
a very good
gonna
red,
exhaust it,
though.
isn't he?
Providing he runs this hoop and doesn't get hit blue or get hampered by blue, he should be able to just tap yellow and keep it in position.
Yeah.
Oh, not, oh no, 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 no.
That did
That's
touch it.
exactly where you
I
don't
think
want
he's
it.
roquet blue. Isn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Even if he hadn't, he's not roqueting yellow.
so he's going to play a more difficult shot now. Red ran into blue, so he's now got his 2 bonus shots again. Can't hit yellow and get it through its hoop, which is what he was trying to do. But he's going to play another roll, sending blue down to the red topped hoop, that's hoop 5, and red down to black at hoop 4. That's a lovely
That's a
shot.
Good shot.
Yeah.
Very good.
Really good. Oh, he gave himself a little of a come on for that.
Yeah.
He was pleased with that,
He's
wasn't he?
enjoyed that one, didn't he?
So for the more seasoned players, David's now got a delayed triple peel to do. So more difficult than a standard triple, and he'll try and peel yellow through 4 back before hoop 6. And I wouldn't be surprised if he rushes back up and takes off
well,
back
we've
down.
Got that gone over again, haven't we?
Yeah.
Do you or don't you?
Blue is perfect, isn't it? For the takeoff back down. One of our editing teams just bringing up the Find Your Nearest club page. And I think we've got about 220 clubs around the country now.
Yeah.
So give you an idea, it was about 120 when I started playing 35 years ago. So we've had 100 more clubs in the last 35 years. So a game that's developing, and very much this is a elite level club. You won't find lawns like this at every club you go to.
No, he's not rushed. Okay, he could have done.
And this is what I would do.
Not to.
I would just float this ball out into the box and just not bother having to take off from yellow to blue. So black's going to be...
what was his objective then? He's trying to finish, isn't he? He's hoping at the end of this turn he's going to be the winner of the game.
Yeah, so not just make all 12 hoops with the red ball, but while he's doing that, peel, that means knock the yellow ball through its last 3 hoops and peg it out as well. So quite complex.
So his opponent might not get another turn after this,
yeah,
if all goes to plan.
So think of it like a game of snooker, where one of the players is sat in a chair and the other's on the table, and they've got a chance to make a break that's big enough to win the game, but they might break down at any shot. Anytime they don't get on a black or don't get on a red and miss a ball, they're immediately off the lawn, off the table, and their opponent will come back in. So this is a game where you can be 25-0 up and lose.
Yeah, and that's fairly common, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen all the time, but it's not really uncommon.
So 26 points needed to win. That's the 12 hoops for both balls, and 2 peg points.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you play at your local club, you'll have a time limit, won't you?
But you can as well. There is sort of shorter versions of the game, isn't there?
Yep.
So if you haven't got time or you're newer to the game, and there's also short croquet, isn't there, which is played on a smaller lawn.
Yeah, it's a half-size lawn,
which makes it more accessible to
beginners,
people who haven't played before.
Yeah, yeah. And more happens faster.
Yeah.
So distances are all smaller.
And most of the croquet is sort of played on handicaps, isn't it?
Yeah. So got a very good handicapping system at Association Croquet, going from about, what is it, -5 or -4 all the way up to 24.
Yeah.
And each of those means you get an extra shot. So if you're a 20 playing a 2, you're going to get 18 extra shots during the game.
And that's a mechanism of trying to have 2 people who are in very different abilities, but to have a level game, not a level game, equal, competing on an equal footing.
Yeah, and basically anybody, once they've got the hang of the game, can play a good handicap game even against the world champion. Whereas if I go and play a game of tennis against Djokovic or someone, I'm not going to get a point.
No.
Doesn't matter if he gives me a 40-love lead every game.
You might if he does a double fault.
Okay, so our editing team's going to put a little map up now of where to find your nearest club, and the blue dots are going to show all the clubs around England. And just to let you know, they're also showing Wales here as well, but they've got clubs in Scotland as well, and they've got clubs in the Republic of Ireland. Now, I don't think we've got any croquet clubs in Northern Ireland from memory, but that's about 220. And then all you've got to do is in this top right hand corner where it says enter place name or postcode, pop your postcode in and it'll just bring up where your nearest clubs are. So very useful little app, and go to croquet.org.uk,
or you can just Google Croquet England.
Yep, Croquet England will work, and that'll just give you an idea, and go along. Maybe ring up the secretary beforehand, find out when their club sessions are.
Yeah, because most of the clubs, they're not like golf clubs, are they? So they're not open all the time.
No.
You probably have to have a member there who would open up.
Yeah.
But a lot of clubs have club days, don't they, when there's various members there.
Yeah, and they'll be more than happy to show you the ropes. Just bring a pair of flat-soled shoes with you, and all the rest of the equipment will be provided. Yeah. So just a pair of trainers, and you'll be fine. You don't have to wear whites. We tend to do that in tournaments, but almost all clubs allow anything you want for club play. So David's failed to get yellow in front of the hoop, and now he's just focused on getting a rush to hoop 6 on black. So you can see the score in the top left-hand corner is 14-0, or at the moment. And he does have a chance to win and get 26 points this term, but you can see he's just shouting at himself. That red's just moved 9 inches too far, a foot too far.
Bit of passion.
And he's got a cut rush now. He's got to cut this quite acutely back to hoop 6. Still should cope, but he's just made that little bit more difficult for himself. That's a good shot. Yeah, he couldn't have played that much better, really. He's still, 3 yards away from hoop 6, so he's got to play a good approach. But as that shot went, I wouldn't have wanted it back again.
He's actually, in some senses, paying the price for not moving yellow after hoop 4.
Because it was too close to the hoop.
He needed the shot sending blue to 1 back. He needed to get a lot closer to yellow.
Yeah.
In order to, because a yellow only needed moving about 6 inches.
Yeah.
To be in front of 4 back. And that's actually quite difficult.
Yeah.
As he demonstrated. But it is genuinely quite difficult to do that. Whereas if he'd gone back to yellow after hoop 4, he could have left it 4 feet from the hoop, maybe.
Yeah.
Give himself more room to move it. I was actually going to ask you where, when he made hoop 5 with blue, where you would have tried to rush blue to. I actually thought he rushed it in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I thought it was okay as well. But now he hasn't run that short of black, so I don't think there's a way you can get black to 2 back and get this yellow peel through 4 back going to 1 back.
Well,
there
is a way.
Unless he doesn't have a 2 back pioneer.
Well, you could take the rush more or less where it's pointing, all the way to the east boundary.
Yeah.
And you would actually probably have room.
Yeah,
but it's a
you
very
need a good shot
croquet
after that, though, don't you? Because you need to tight rush on this.
Yes.
Yellow to peeling position.
See, I don't think that's the right place to go to. I think he needs to be much further south than that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I agree.
And
which is even further from yellow.
Yeah.
I don't think he will do that, will he?
If I was playing well, I would always take that line. But he's played sufficiently imperfect shots to go, is he actually likely to finish from here, or should he just tidy things up?
He could just fall back, couldn't he, to a 4-ball break and get to the peg.
But that will give Harry an extra shot.
It will,
but it will be a long shot.
We spoke about yesterday, if he does take that line and gets to the peg, he is only then 1 turn away, isn't he?
Yeah.
If he continues with this line of play to try and finish, and he does break down,
he'll be 2 turns away.
He's probably still 2 turns away from finishing.
So he seems to have rushed black exactly where he tried to rush it. And this is not going to be a good 2-back pioneer. This is going to be about, what do you think, about 6 yards away from 2-back?
It's going to be in the middle, isn't it?
I think you can get it within 6 yards. You might even be able to get it 4 yards away.
The thing I don't like about this shot is it's a made-up shot.
Yes.
It's a shot you never play.
Yeah.
In the normal course of events, and they are quite hard to play for the first time. The way to play them, I think, is to find an equivalent shot that you do play.
Yeah.
From time to time, and go, oh, it's like that shot.
Yeah, I would always have been trying to play the shot more with a sort of drivey shot, so a wider angle.
Like that. That's where I thought black was going to go, in the middle. You thought it was going to get more to 2 back.
That's where I thought black could end up.
I don't think it was ever going to get to within 6 yards.
The problem is he's not close enough to yellow. He absolutely needs to dribble it off, doesn't he?
Yes.
But he is good at this sort of thing, isn't he?
Well, he wasn't 10 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago, or whatever it was.
Traditionally.
It's just at the last second you go, well, I don't want it to hill off.
hasn't hit it full ball.
No.
So now he can't peel it again.
But if he had hit it full ball, it would be
The wrong side of the hoop.
unpeelable the other side
Yeah.
of the hoop.
Well, he needed to hit about half ball on the right, didn't he?
Yeah.
Rather than on the left. So he'll.
These are the differences, aren't they? If he was on a full ball break and he was doing this sort of thing, it would be a successful turn still.
Yeah.
But because he's trying to do something a little bit more difficult, but these shots where he's not getting as close, he's not playing as well, they're starting to add up and mean that he can't actually achieve what he's trying to do.
Yeah. So he's giving up peeling and he's throwing yellow back as a pivot, which is a very good idea because black isn't a very good two-back pioneer. So yellow will help him get a good rush on black once he's made one back. But if you think about how far the red ball has travelled in some of the shots here, it's been going far too far. And it's a good shot that. He's got a lovely rush on blue. So he's back under control. But there won't be any triple peel done now, I don't think. I think one of the things we didn't mention yesterday is we've got a sponsor, Croquet Cocktails.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
What's your favourite cocktail?
I like an Amaretto Sours.
Okay.
So this is Duncan Catterall's company, and they run a very nice tournament out in Mauritius, which is in its second year now. And if you're a croquet player and you fancy playing some golf croquet out in Mauritius, then nice week's holiday out there.
What's your favourite croquet, Keith?
Any croquet stroke, well played.
So he's just trying to recover the break now. Get a free back pioneer out, and presumably he's going to be rushing yellow as close to black as he can to get a tight rush to two back.
Yeah, really want to get a rush on yellow towards black. Don't want to go past yellow here.
He does want a good blue though as well, because he doesn't want to have to send yellow to free back.
No. So the red is average. The blue's quite good. And these are the shots I found when I started getting better. Instead of just trying to hit these in the middle, if when you were confident just hitting them half ball,
Yeah.
it makes the game so much easier. I know Mark Avery was giving some tips as to how to become a better player, and he said the key thing is to play the easy shots well. And this is a simple shot, just moving red 2.5 yards, 7 or 8 feet, get a rush on black.
We'll get a tight rush.
Yeah, and you want to be within 2 inches
Yeah.
of your ideal spot at the end of it.
Would you play a takeoff here?
I'd have played drive.
Yeah, so would I.
I just find it easier to control the ball. But I mentioned yesterday David plays a lot of takeoffs to hoops, and it is his preferred shot, so I think it's important to play to your own strengths.
And so hopefully we've done a reasonable job of trying to explain what's going on for any beginners. If there's any other questions from people, experienced players or not, anyone wants to make any comments, then let us know.
And just slightly overcut. Just not really on top form at the moment, David. Should be easy to approach from pretty straight in front, even though it's further away than he'd like. And I'd be surprised if he tries to peel yellow straight. I think he's almost given up at this stage.
I do think there's some value in peeling yellow straight, even if you only get one peel. And the reason I say that is because I think if you get pegged out, being for penalt on the contact turn is much better than being for fullback on the contact turn.
You're more likely to get a squeeze.
Yeah.
I think, I go through this guideline of if your opponent's on fullback, you peg them out. If they're on rover, you don't peg them out.
Yeah.
And if they're on penalt, it's your choice. So clearly the move from fullback to penalt is advantageous.
I think it's benefit in it's a protection, isn't it?
It
Against
is.
pegging out.
Yeah.
So I think there is some value in it, but you don't want to be doing it if it's
compromises your leave.
Yeah.
So he's not even going to go to yellow now. He's just going to leave it. So definitely won't be any peeling done. And the normal leave here is quite a horizontal spread. So like a diagonal one, but with your balls nearer the line of the peg. So probably 2 yards south of the peg and 2 yards north of the peg on the western side. And again, he's just overhit that back ball. That's not a good shot.
I think the lawns might be quickening up a bit
Definitely.
as they dry out.
Yeah. Yesterday we saw them struggle getting the back ball up to start with. Samir in play on lawn 3.
Yeah, Samir has had a TPO on Gabrielle,
And he's got a finishing turn.
and he's now on a finishing turn.
Stephen brings the
Deliveries.
lovely jelly babies.
And lovely Jaffa cakes.
And Keith likes the Jaffa cakes, I know that. So important things to be thinking about once you've made this hoopy. You want to make rover off an enemy ball. Wants to make rover off blue or black.
It'd be quite handy to have a forward rush out of this hoop, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think he's put blue quite wide there.
He's going to yellow, isn't he, afterwards, if he can?
I think so.
He's not going to get a forward rush, though, looking at the camera.
So just needs to make sure
Everything would be a lot easier now had he moved yellow.
with that drive or
Yeah.
takeoff shot we were
Yeah.
mentioning. Yellow would have
Yeah.
been a better pivot, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because the way he made two back, he couldn't really go back to it.
No. Whereas he
But
could
he
have
could
gone
have
back
done.
to it if it was
Yeah.
down at hoop 5
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, exactly.
And we tend not to put it close to hoop 5 because then you can get crosswired from it. But if it's sort of in play 3 yards away, that's quite a nice place for it rather than still being in the northern half of the lawn. And he's played too many roll shots this turn, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
Either.
this should be indicating to me, going back to what we were saying earlier, how do you know if someone's playing well?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not looking at these sort of roll shots thinking, oh, that's an easy shot.
Yeah.
So I'd sort of be on the side of saying, no, he's not playing that well.
He's done well. The red's good and blue's
Yeah, that shot's absolutely fine.
adequate.
He just wants to be able to move yellow across to this side of the court, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
that he can easily get past black.
And he can put yellow to penalt as a better pioneer, can't he? If he wants.
I suppose one of the things we might say is he might be taking into account who he's playing, and he knows Harry didn't peg Stephen out when it was 3-back and peg yesterday. So he's going, well, if you didn't peg him out 3-back and peg, he's probably not going to peg me out 4-back and peg.
Well,
He's probably
you
just going
might
to
think
go
that,
4-back.
or you might think, well, maybe Harry's learnt his lesson from yesterday.
It is, in the international game, it's very unusual for someone to peg you out on 4-back and peg. Jenny and myself do it all the time, but all the Australians will go to 4-back.
Right.
The Americans will go to 4-back as well. So
I mean, if you go to 4-back and you get a good leave, then I think it's okay, isn't it? But if you go to 4-back and Harry didn't have a particularly good leave, did he? I think that was the major problem.
yeah,
It's a geese-free environment at the moment.
Richard Hilditch is asking about the geese that we had yesterday.
Yeah, that was quite amusing, wasn't it?
I think hopefully someone will be able to clip that up from YouTube.
Okay. We could get
Stephen chasing the. We need the Benny Hill music.
Well,
put to it.
a little bit of a meme, maybe.
Yeah, meme. Yeah.
That would be someone with better eye tills. Oh, not Benny Hill. I think Benny Hill's not PC anymore.
Oh, will we not now?
That's probably one of the many things that's been cancelled.
Oh dear.
So he's going to definitely get an opponent ball at Rover, so that's good.
I'm going for a green one.
Much brighter sky than yesterday, Keith, so I'm not convinced it's going to be as bad as yesterday. How are the other games going on 1 and 2? Are they finished?
Yeah, Lord 2's finished.
Okay. That was James against Stephen, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
the slow one.
2 of the quicker players in the event. And that's a loose Rover Pioneer, isn't it?
Stephen won that one against James, 26 QP.
QP, so that's probably Super Advanced, wasn't it, if it's a QP? We thought they might play Super, those two. So that's James on 2 out of 5, which is, you know, starting to be detached from the pack a wee bit. Stephen on. Is Stephen on 2 out of 5 as well? 2 out of 4
2
for
out of
Stephen.
4, so he's pegged down against Debbie, isn't he? Oh, I didn't spot that yesterday. There was a QPO.
Yeah, that was early on, I think. Was it Robin?
Samir versus
Samir,
Stephen.
So probably about a quarter of the games being played Super Advanced and the rest are regular.
He's not got a very good Rover Pioneer.
No, it's poor. He's not going to get a rush out of this, and Blue's a little bit too far south, if anything. I know you like laying up on the western side of the lawn, don't you, Keith? So having a reverse spread.
I've gone away from that.
I've talked you around, have I?
You have. Yeah.
I've never thought I'd managed to do that. So we're mentioning the horizontal spread. It won't be a spread with the ball on the western side tight to the boundary. You want to leave it sort of 4 yards into the lawn to give you enough room to send the ball to penultimate, getting rushed 4 back. Because it's so far in, you definitely don't want it diagonally because it gets very close to B-bulk then. So, you know, fairly horizontal.
What's he done there?
That is a weird place.
Reverse.
That's miles away though.
Even if you're having a reverse spread, that yellow's out of position.
That's bizarre.
Well, I think that's what he's having.
Yeah, he's clearly put Blue that side for a reverse. Yeah, it's all going to be probably okay. This is where, when you do get difficult playing conditions, there becomes a bigger gap between playing abilities, doesn't there? It's more easy to see one player is better than another.
Well, I feel like I just keep saying the same thing. Like, he's not going to break down, is he? But he's just making it more difficult to achieve what he wants to achieve. So his good leave is getting harder to make.
Yeah. And yesterday we saw with Debbie when she got hampered in the end and played that sort of jump shot off the lawn, she ended up leaving a big double.
Yeah.
And it cost her the game. So it can be really, really important. But the more difficult the lawn is, the more you're going to get punished by, having to approach a hoop from 3 yards away or from the side.
There's a video you can watch on YouTube of Ben Rothman's 12-foot break at Cairnley in the Mac,
which was excellent. So, I'd originally very critical of Ben's level of precision when he was playing in the Worlds in, I think, 2009. But if you want to see a really good break, then that break he played, and it was just a 12-foot break, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
So it wasn't difficult, really.
He hit in.
Yeah.
With his hoop 1 ball.
Yeah.
Partner was for the peg.
Yep.
And all he had to do was a 12-foot break, but the conditions were challenging.
They were. So lawns were not flat, with heavy wind, and it was really cold. And if you watch where he approaches each hoop from and where he runs each hoop from, it's a masterclass in how to play a precision break in testing conditions. So really good to see Ben's game from 2009 really elevating. And remember, he got to the final of the Worlds in 2009, so it's not a bad player, but he's clearly improved. So this still isn't easy, is it? He's going to have to go past the blue to rush it back to the peg. And if he doesn't get it...
I wonder whether he was going for a cross peg.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know. After he made Rover, I just wonder whether that was... I mean, he's not going to now, is he? But I wonder whether that's what he was playing for. But yeah, like you say, this is not a nice shot, is it? You want to get as close to blue as you can, don't you? But you also need to get distance on black.
So black's now too close to the boundary. It's actually on the yard line. You can't get a ball to penult now if Harry shoots with blue. So he's not even guaranteed to finish next turn now. If blue shoots through from corner 1 up to corner 2, it's going to be a testing finishing turn. On the other hand, if you're a really strong player, you're probably changing Harry's choice of lift shot from the shortest possible shot to a more defensive one.
Well, it depends how good you are, or how good
It does.
Harry thinks you are.
Yeah. And it's
Because
one
he
of the...
may decide, I'm not saying well with David, but with other people he may decide, well, they're finishing anyway.
Yep.
Even though it's difficult,
Yep.
they're finishing anyway. So I'd better take my shortest shot.
And it's one of the skills of the game, isn't it? Judging your strength of the opponent. How likely are they to achieve certain lines of play? I don't think he's even guaranteed to get a cross peg now.
This looks difficult.
Yeah.
Look at what he's doing here.
Now, Harry could easily have an open 13, 14 yarder here. It's not good.
Meanwhile, Samir has finished against Gabriel.
That's for Gabriel's first
No,
loss.
that's certainly not.
That's miles away from being open, and he hasn't got a rush on yellow.
It's cross pegged from us.
But if yellow had been closer to the peg, he wouldn't have had to. He was playing that shot and trying to get to yellow, wasn't he?
You could have just played a little stop shot, couldn't you, if yellow was in the right place?
That's what I mean. Yeah. If yellow was
It
at the
still
peg where
would
it should
have
have been.
been easy.
It wouldn't have been easy, but it'd have been a lot easier than that roll that he just
Yes,
tried to play.
Okay, I'll give you that. But equally, he could have just croquet blue wider between 1 and 2 and laid up in corner 2, couldn't he?
Yep.
It's a disappointing leave, isn't it? At
It
this
is.
level, you'd be expecting a much better leave than this.
Yeah, and this was my complaint about the Robertson Shield players. You know, they were producing leaves like this in 13, 14 and 17, and it's rubbish. You know, it's just not up to the standard that you have to play at. And there's been no excuse, really. He's had a 4-ball break. He stopped peeling
Yeah, he stopped
before
peeling
one
before
back.
one back, didn't he? So he's had more than enough time to get the balls tidied up.
Is yellow off?
It's close. Yeah, it's off. So now he's got a rush pointing nowhere, and Harry's got a series of short shots or a long double, which might be safe, completely safe. So blue at red and yellow from near corner 1, probably safe, probably a double, all definitely ahead of Harry's break himself, who's a hoop 1. Or he could just go, look, I've got a 13 yarder, I'm just going to take my 13 yarder. So many legitimate choices of shot here.
With black and blue where they were, do you think there was a case for just joining up on the boundary rather than trying to leave a rush? Just remember when I first started playing, players used to sometimes leave themselves a backward rush to sort of
Yeah, you could leave a reverse rush to
discourage.
try and discourage it. I mean, the problem was, if you'd have got a rush on yellow, he could have laid up really tight in corner 2 to deny Harry space.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do that from rolling it from down there, accurately enough. My one thing I would have been wanting to ensure is that there was no double target from anywhere on the lawn. You've already given a 13 yarder away. All you can do is give a bigger target away. So he's taking the more defensive shot. It'll be a double, but assuming it misses through towards corner 2, he's almost guaranteed to get another shot, isn't he?
It's a long shot, isn't it? But
It
like
is.
you say, there might be. Oh yeah, you can see on the camera there. He's got a nice target.
So unless he misses by
This is
Two-
what David hit, isn't it? At
Yeah.
the start of the.
2 balls on the left, that would be a bad miss.
This is the sort of shot that David hit on the 4th turn, isn't it?
Very much so. And David's shot went pretty straight.
Your wife likes a B spread. She says the good leaves always get hit.
Oh. It's a good shot.
It's
That is outrageous. That was the way I thought it went when David hit it, but it didn't go that way when David hit it.
Cool.
This is in the middle of yellow, and it manages to
Sneak past.
unbelievably sneak past.
it's only another go.
This is a...
See if it hits this time.
You think every time it's going to hit, don't you?
It didn't disappear that time, Keith,
No, it
so
didn't,
they pressed
no.
the button at the right time.
And he hit that quite hard as well.
Was intact.
And he's missed it, and David's going to pick him off.
Is he?
No, not a chance.
Is he?
Oh, it's not in the corner, to be fair.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on there.
Oh, it is. He is.
Definitely getting
Okay.
our money's worth on the live stream. Haven't had any top quality games yet, but hopefully we'll get one of them later on in the tournament.
Oh, that knee bend
Knee
again.
bend. Yeah.
Arm stretch.
But generally hit though, don't they? If he has the knee bend.
Yeah. And to me, this is a time to play a good croquet stroke. I'm not going to take off here. There's plenty of room behind that red. Send blue out genuinely to Pinault. And you can get a rush to either black or 4-back.
And this is the sort of thing that happens, because if he gets behind red here, like you say, he's going to have something that either goes to the hoop or black, isn't it?
He's going to leave blue where it is, though. I'm going to be really positive here and play a proper croquet straight.
He would have. I mean, he played a really good croquet straight, didn't he, yesterday, that we've spoken about already?
Yeah.
So if he could do that again.
A lot of room behind this red.
Sure.
Got a rush towards corner 4, isn't it?
It's not as good
No,
as
that's
that.
the end of A bulk.
Yeah.
And this is again one of the situations where having more power would be handy. Can he half ball it towards corner 4?
See, would he not have, if he was going to take off from blue, which he has done, would he not have wanted to push that in a bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
A few yards, just so there's a bit of space behind it for future.
Definitely.
But he's left it on the boundary, hasn't he?
He has. And nice cut, he just hasn't hit it hard enough. And he hasn't got that natural power.
No.
So that now, instead of coming up the yard line, which would make a fairly easy rush on black to 4-back, he's probably going to be rolling red defensively to corner. Probably. He could choose between corner 3 and corner 4 here, couldn't he? He would croquet to corner 3 and send black to the end of A bulk. Or he could roll to corner 4 and send black towards corner 3. I prefer croqueting red to corner 3 here.
But you're not attempting to make 4-back in this turn, and you're just
I'm not.
making a leave, yeah. Yeah, I mean that last shot, the rush, that illustrates what we were talking about earlier, doesn't it? In that he didn't have the natural power to rush it off the court this side, and if he had have tried to do that, he would have lost accuracy. So he might not have hit it down the same line.
Could have broken his kneecaps, probably.
Fall into the floor. Maybe he's got knee pads on under there. He's got the belt on.
Red's a long way north of corner 4 here. I thought he'd roll red 2 yards further south there.
He's not going to roll. Is he going to try and roll up now? He's not, is he?
I think he is.
But it's rubbish though if you make 4-back, isn't it?
Well, you have to put the ball. Well, you don't. You can put it either side. You can rush back to red now, can't you? But it puts you under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. This could go over to corner 1 though, couldn't it?
The corner 1 is the place for it to go now.
Yeah.
But going to corner 1 isn't that good, really, is it? Because then blue can just shoot at it. Blue can join up in corner 1.
Yeah, you're going to have to rush to 4-back from a long way
You're
away.
still not going to be able to do a lot. You're not going to get a. Well, you might get partner at penult, but would you want to do that before you've made 4-back? Like you say, you're going to be rushing to 4-back from corner 1. Putting partner in the middle before you do that is a bit of a risk.
It is. So he's rolling up.
Well, the trouble here is that he won't be guarding the corner, will he?
He has to leave himself further away from red than he would like to guard the corner. And Harry Muck could even corner.
Don't think we've seen anybody do that yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
Or, to be fair, any situations where we suggested it?
Robin Brown had one that Jack fancied against Gabrielle, and he shot into corner 1. Do you remember that yesterday? We had a 13-14 yarder at the ball on the north boundary by 3, and he took a long shot into corner 1, and Gabrielle didn't do a great job of picking it up. So he's done very well on depth for black, so it's nice and defensive, but as Keith said, guarding this shot isn't easy. I think he probably has to hit off about, what do you think, 3 yards north of corner 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can easily miss that by a yard either way, which will leave you a sweaty first croquet or a longer pickup.
Well, a missed shot with black on red goes either just out of corner 4 on the south boundary or 2 yards out of the corner.
Yeah. That's a long pickup. He's gone further north than I thought. I think Harry will probably shoot black at red. It's got to be a 5-yarder, surely.
Yes.
Maybe 4.5, but I'm happy enough taking this shot.
Well, he can shoot through yellow and potentially get to corner 4. If he misses on the right, but if he misses on the left, he's probably going to be north of corner 4.
I think I'm shooting at red on the basis that it might be a fractionally more difficult croquet stroke as well. Yellow hits black,
Right.
has to send it up, going to red. It's a bit more difficult potentially. So you can play black to corner 1 here, but David should get a better leave next turn, shouldn't he? Probably with him in corner 3. Not quite. Made it into the corner,
has
but
got to the corner.
ball and a half away. And David will pick this off, won't he? Or at least attempt to.
I would think so.
Yeah, yeah.
What? How long do you think his shot is? 4 yards?
4 yards probably. Thought it's about 4.5 if he missed red.
I'm expecting some significant knee bend on this one.
Not knee movement.
There'll be knee bend on
Right.
this one.
It's a pressure shot, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
this is not the length of Roquet I would like leaving myself first shot of a turn. We're directly behind him and he looks like he's missing by 2 balls on the left as usual.
2 feet on the left.
And he'll come across and it'll slide back.
Yeah,
and
well, there's a bit of knee bend. Not too bad.
you hit that in the
That
middle
was
of his
pretty well
mallet.
timed,
Yeah.
to be fair. But that was...
So he's got a lovely rush line now to come up and get a rush on red to 4 back, and he really should finish. It's a nice drive. Just focus on the back ball here. Black will finish somewhere near Penult. If the back ball's right, you've won. Oh, I thought you might get both balls a bit further than that.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
think
no
it's
better.
okay.
I think I could have got you red. Sorry, black. 6 yards further there. Yeah, that's okay. It's a good shot.
Now, where's he going to put this red? He wants it on this eastern side, doesn't he?
I think it's unclear. I think you could put it either east or west from there. So Jack, do you want to bring us up to date with the other 3 games that have finished?
Yeah, which one did we speak about? We spoke about Stephen, didn't we?
We did. So 26
QP.
QP to Stephen against James.
Yeah. Samir's had a TPO win against Gabrielle, and Robin's had a TPO win against Deb, so Robin's still only on 1 loss then.
Yeah, and we mentioned yesterday Robin does like TPOing,
Yeah.
so he's be happy with that win. So 4 out of 5 for Robin.
Very good.
That is,
I think he's got red on the right side now, making 4 back. It's much better to have it on the east side.
I would have had it very narrow, whichever side I
well,
would have put it on.
I
It
think
could
he
be.
sent red the wrong side of the hoop when he approached, actually.
Yeah, I think it's where I think that's where it should be, on that side. It
No,
could,
I mean,
it could be
he's-
narrower.
He sent it to the right of the hoop as he's looking at it.
Yeah, Jack
I think
wants
that's
it to
where
the
I
right
want
of the
it.
hoop.
No, but you could have done that narrower, like you're
Yeah, yeah, it
wanting
could be
by
narrower.
sending it on the left side.
Oh, I see what
Right.
you mean. So right, yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I mean, if you send it on the left side, you can then you're sending it deeper, aren't you, and straighter. So then you can then play to run the hoop off the boundary.
you're certainly going to be potentially rushing a lot closer to black than he is now.
Yeah, I mean, you want it on. I think you put it on the right side, but you'd hope that you were rushing further south than that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's almost going at 90 degrees across the rush line here,
Okay.
which we don't want, and he's going to be playing some sort of 3/4 roll. He hasn't got options as to directions to rush black in, because blue and Penult are both the same direction.
This is okay though, isn't it? I mean, you just need 1 shot to win.
Yeah, it's the sorts of shots you need to be trying to eliminate from having to play on your last turn to
Yeah,
win.
but there's no way he's not going to try it.
No.
He's added another good chunk of yardage to
Oh,
the
sure.
distance travelled by the striker's ball.
And this is something Jenny does. She goes and looks at the blade of grass she wants to find.
But you know, we're being critical of this shot because this is the end of the game, isn't it? So he should be played in. But if you were playing this sort of shot to pick up a break at the start of the game, you'd be fairly happy.
Maybe. There's certainly more excuse at the start of the game.
Well, especially if you haven't made hoop 1 yet.
Yeah, if you haven't made hoop 1, this is just a pick-up shot, isn't it?
Yeah. He's got to rush back to 4 back while looking
Yeah,
at
that's a good shot.
Excellent shot. That is very good.
Although it's not a rush to blue, in my
No.
view. That's just take it to Penalt.
Yeah.
And it's
Sure.
pointing to the right side of Penult. I'd rather have it pointing further north than further south.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Not sure he will. Oh,
Yeah,
I just
that's fine.
got far enough.
might try for hoop and roquet. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
this approach.
always try for hoop and roquet here. It's underused as a play.
Well, he had the option yesterday, didn't we? We spoke about it at Hoop 6, and he didn't go for it.
And he hasn't gone for it there. He's played a good shot. But yeah, the more you play on firm hoops that you want to run with a few extra yards of pace, the more you know hoop and roquet is your friend.
Blue's in the corner, is it?
Blue's about 2 yards south of the corner.
So he could go to blue.
So he could go to blue. He won't be wanting just to take off to red, will he?
He wants a ball down there with him, doesn't
Ideally,
he?
you want another ball.
Yeah.
And if he'd have done hoop and roquet, he could be taking croquet now from somewhere near the peg, couldn't he?
Yeah. And just send black.
Yeah, it's much easier.
Past her over and easy finish. It's an easy finish from anywhere. It's just trying to eliminate those 1% of things that can go wrong.
No, he's just gonna.
Red is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about just taking off to forget about black.
So you wouldn't play the role.
Well, I might, but the things can go wrong with us.
Absolutely.
And the main thing that will go wrong,
Yellow hits the peg.
well, that's possible, but in avoiding that, you go miles away from red.
Yeah.
And when you roquet, it's nowhere near the hoop.
Yeah.
That's one thing could easily go wrong.
Decent shot.
Well, that's pretty good. That's very good, actually. But he did go pretty close to the peg.
So who do you say was next up on the show lawn?
I've got that.
We haven't seen Samir.
Samir and James, potentially.
Samir and James, that's a good match to watch.
Tasty.
Both nice, quick players. Quite possibly going to play Super for the first time. So, don't think we've had a Super Advanced match to commentate on.
No, we haven't.
Not regarding it as my specialty, but I'll try my best.
You'll be glad to know David's back again this afternoon.
Is he?
On lawn 4, yeah, playing Gabs. That'd be game 3.
Might be leaders in the clubhouse, that one.
And then last up today we've got Stephen and Samir.
Okay.
So, double Samir day.
Double Samir, double Gocha.
Excellent.
And yeah, all the other games are finished. I don't think they'll be having lunch yet, will they? So
It's not even 12 o'clock yet.
no. So we'll start round 2 pretty imminently.
This game's about 1 hour and 3/4, whereas the equivalent game yesterday was 3 1/4.
But it is
Well,
a 26.
It's a 26 instead
It
of
is. It is. Yeah.
It's quite slow.
No, I think he's quicker because he used to win plus 26 in 2 hours. So he's got 15 minutes quicker.
Your weather forecast might have been right. Somebody's saying there's no results on for the selectors yet.
And you said that was in Bath?
Yeah, so you could have been right with
Oh,
your.
wow.
Oh dear.
I've seen them missed. I've missed them myself.
That's about the only thing you needed to avoid, really, wasn't it? In that shot. Well, and rushing red into the peg, I suppose.
I certainly remember him taking 12 minutes to line a peg up at Cheltenham. missing it and coming off and said I didn't take enough care over that. I won't do that again.
Start the time with him.
Yeah, the version I remember is he came off and said he couldn't quite get them in how he wanted, but he felt as though he was taking too long.
Aha.
That's the last time I'm going to feel rushed.
Yes.
30 years ago that was.
He's not using the kneel pad, is he, that Gab's had?
No.
No.
That's
no.
obviously not
No.
a directive. Maybe Gab's was worried about their trousers.
I think we need to make inquiries about the origin of the pad.
It must be for the hoop setters, mustn't it?
I don't know. We've drawn a crowd though, haven't we? 4 people, 5 people potentially.
Yeah, we're up to about
Who
70
aren't
by the look on
Croquet
YouTube.
Certainly, there used to be sort of 10 or 12 turn up
Yes.
in the 80s, didn't
Yes. Oh yes.
there? At the weekend you might get 30.
Well, the President's Cup used to finish on Saturday,
Yeah.
and the other 8s, there were two other 8s in those days, finished on Friday.
Yeah. Monday to Friday.
And the idea was that you would finish your lower 8 and then go and watch the last day of the President's Cup.
He's going to play this shot. Speedy.
Nailed it.
So that's David. He has hit that.
He has hit that. He only just hit it.
It's just snicked it. I think you'd have to call that careless, wouldn't you, Keith?
Well, yeah.
Oh, we're going to get the replay of the second shot. I think this is going to be a joy to watch this when we get... Oh, we haven't got it. What a shame. Watching that second shot. Wow, he just flicked the edge of it.
Well, I'd more heard it than saw it.
Yeah. I think he's 3 out of 4, isn't he now? David.
Yeah.
So really
Well,
good
finished.
start.
Gabrielle's 3 out of 4.
Gabriel's 3 out of Robin's 4 out of 5.
Harry's
So,
on 0, unfortunately,
yeah.
with along with Debbie at the bottom.
Yeah.
So what happens with the peg down games then? They're going to just be fitted in
No, play it at the end of play on one day.
at the end of play.
So shouldn't be done between rounds. You should
Yeah.
play the rounds consecutively, and then when you're up to date, at the end of the day, you finish a pegged out game. Don't give people extra warm up compared to their future opponents, just because they've been.
And do they have to go back on the same lawn?
They don't have to, but it would be ideal.
Yeah.
But they don't actually have to.
I suppose the trouble comes, we've got 3 at the minute, is if we get some more today, they start building up.
Yeah, yeah. So James and Samir, very attractive game to watch. Super advanced, we've been told.
Be a bit quicker, I suspect.
So there may be some people watching who have no idea what super advanced is, and the advanced play where you've got lifts at 1 back and 4 back and a contact if you run them both before your first ball's made 1 back, you've got a bit more of an extra level of complication by having hoop 4 as a lift hoop now. So if you take your first ball to 1 back, you're still giving a lift away, aren't you? And if you take your first ball past 1 back, you're giving a contact away.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And there are a couple of standard plays, and probably the most common is to take your first ball to 3 back and make a contact leave, and the best players will peel their opponent to hoop 3 while doing it. And then there's a standard, what I'm going to call a Fulford leave, when you've gone to 3 back with 2 pops. Other people can, they can go to hoop 5 or hoop 6 with a diagonal spread and then take
That's
that ball
pretty
onto 4
uncommon.
back.
The first turn, the first ball round in the game, pretty much always goes to either 3 back or 4 back. I think the issue with going to not running 1 back is that if your opponent hits and goes to 4 back, you're in a much worse position.
I mean, I like, on these lawns, I like the tight cross peg and laying up on the west boundary level of hoop 6 as a sextuple
That'll
leave.
be what James does if he gets in.
So you're still going for sextuple, but you're giving a lift away.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird to get your head around. There aren't too many defensive shots against that. You can shoot from third corner through into first corner, but that's not particularly attractive as a shot. You can't take any shot through into corner 4. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that as a leave. Anyway, James has played to a normal place, and
we should have mentioned the opening variation, shouldn't we?
So
Which we did refer to, I think, maybe yesterday.
The opening, the first ball has to either go off a boundary or hit or run a hoop.
Or the peg.
Or the peg, yeah. So you can lay a super shot by sort of aiming at hoop 5.
Yeah. Well, you can sort of make a triple of hoop 5, the peg, and hoop 6.
So hoop 6 isn't good. You almost don't want to be hitting it hard enough to get to hoop 6.
No.
So Samir has managed to get it south of corner 2 here. And I think James will shoot at partner from A bulk. I think you'll see, a completely different pace of play in this game.
Yeah, the cameraman need to have be awake for this one, don't they? They could make sure they're moving the cameras around.
So this is James's split hand grip.
Yeah, so what we call a pen holder.
It's a fairly new mallet though, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, very new. In the middle. And we said, what, 46 or 48 inches to the shaft. Started playing as a very young boy, and his mallet was as tall as he was. And I think that's one of the reasons he's developed this technique. And he's about 6'4", 6'5".
Is he?
He's pretty tall, I think. Taller than Reg. So as we've seen before, going to this ball in corner 2 and just trying to dig it out and make a leave.
Don't you try and get a rush on it?
Not in this corner 2, no. Yeah, good length. So you mentioned his new mallet.
Mm-hmm.
He played for one for donkey's years, hadn't he? And it just got a bit worn out, really. But this is still comparatively similar. And one of James's sort of unique strengths is he's got a fabulous stop shot, and he can move balls much further into the lawn, holding to gain rushes, than most of the players here. And this is a very unusual place he's put the yellow. You'd normally put it a bit further south than that. It looks to me as if he's managed to get it close to the spot where hoop 2 is in the way of the shooting at it from B bulk, which is handy, because I wouldn't be surprised to see Samir shoot at red at yellow from B bulk if it's open. It's the shortest shot.
It's got a hoop turned away.
That's what I was saying. I think it's in the way, but if it isn't, I think he'll take it.
Oh, he's gone for a lag.
Well, he might shoot at black from A-bolt now.
He's presumably done that because going beyond blue will give a double.
The double from B-bolt, yeah.
So it's actually handy to practice moving blue
The ideal.
enough but not too much,
Yeah.
on that takeoff to corner 2.
Yeah. So Samir's gone and had a look at this yellow, and it is open fully from B-bulk.
And why is he? Why can he not play yellow in the next turn?
It's a good question. So you have to play the first 4 balls onto the lawn, and then so once blue's played, then black has to play the 3rd turn. Once all 4 are on the lawn, you can play either of your balls at the start of each turn.
Yeah.
But this is the one turn in the game where he has to play the red because it hasn't come onto the lawn yet.
Yeah.
And he gets to play it from either bulk line. So that runs from the blue flag on one corner halfway along that southern boundary, and from the black flag halfway along the opposite boundary. So he's looking now at where red misses black to from the end of A bulk, which is the shot I think he should take.
And because on you have to play each ball into the game, that does mean in some circumstances on the 3rd turn you can join up with the oppo ball, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Because they can't play that ball, they have to play their other ball.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's taking, I think, this shot at black because it's going to miss to a long way away from blue, which might make blue forced to rush black quite a long rush all the way to yellow, which isn't far off the boundary.
You keep saying he's shooting well, so we'll see now.
I've watched him play this year, and I think Samir is an average shot overall, but this year I think he's been shooting well.
He's got a slight bend at the top of his mallet, hasn't he?
And why has he got that, Jack?
Well, I assume it's so that he doesn't have to extend his wrist back as far, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's to protect his wrists.
Yeah. Yeah, good shot.
Been a bit unlucky with where he's rushed it. The takeoff behind blue is going to be challenging, but I still think it's the right choice of shot. Nice and short, and not guaranteed that James is going to pick up a break. And sort of back to old-fashioned having 8 English players, which, if you think of recent times, we've rarely had 8 English players, with Paddy and Jose turning up, and Reg tends not to play this event. I don't think he's played for probably 20 years. Looks good. No, just short. So that's going to be a challenging cut to hoop 1. If he can rush this off the boundary in front of hoop 1, he'll be really pleased. And you think in the past, yourself and Jonathan Kirby, Scottish players?
Ed Cunningham.
Yes, Irish.
Rutger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rutger was technically English in the end, wasn't he?
In the end, yeah.
Originally Dutch. Again, one of those shots where if he had a little bit more power, and Samir's got reasonable power without being at the top end of the power range, he could have probably got that blue another 4 yards towards hoop 1. This is quite difficult because I think really you'd like to send blue so that after running hoop 1 you've got a rush towards black, but the pass roll's a little bit more difficult than the full roll. He's played the full roll.
It's gone.
It's gone, hasn't it? Well, it's runnable. I think this is a very similar hoop 1. I don't know if you remember the Worlds final.
That is not runnable.
Oh, that's runnable. Anything inside the corner is runnable, and that's inside the corner.
With an Atkins.
I don't think it's that dissimilar to the one Robert ran in the Worlds final.
Okay.
It was a really tough hoop. I think it is a little bit more angled than that, But
Did he do it off an oppo ball?
I think he did. I think it's third turn. So he hasn't had yellow yet. So hitting it gives a extra bonus chance to take off back in front, and he should get an easier hoop than the one he's just turned down. Whether it's still good enough for him to go for, I don't know.
Should be straighter,
Yes,
probably longer.
yeah, as long as it doesn't hit the wire on its way down, it should be straighter.
Now, are you going to go for getting a straight hoop, or are you going to try and get a hoop you feel you're definitely going to run?
I'm going to try and get a 2-yard straight hoop.
2 yard.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm not definite to run a 2-yard straight hoop,
He's not. He's going to run away. Look.
but I want to take a hoop shot on. That's
Okay.
a big surprise to me. That's almost a free go. He's lengthened the shot that Harry's got by
James.
James has got by 6 yards. I think Blue's going to shoot at black though.
Might be hampered a bit.
Given that Harry's hilled off his last shot towards that region of the lawn quite badly, I think he's going to fancy blue at black rather than blue at red and yellow.
So we're being asked to explain the difference between advanced and super advanced.
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
There's one extra lift hoop,
Yeah.
hoop 4, which has the effect. You still have the rule that if you run 2 lift hoops with the first ball, you can see contact.
That means as soon as you've run one back first break, you're
Yeah.
giving a contact away.
Yeah. If somehow you concede the hoop 4 left, and then but without making one back, so you've only given a left away, and then later on that ball scores 1 back and 4 back, you would concede contact, which is exactly the same as normal advanced. If you made hoop 4 1 back and 4 back with your first ball, without a ball being pegged out in that turn, you actually concede, as well as a lift and a contact, a lift to position, which means you can pick up, the opponent can pick up one of their balls and literally place it anywhere on the lawn.
So even if the opponent's put balls in a corner, which you wouldn't normally be able to get a rush on, you can actually place it within the corner area.
That's right.
As
you
if
don't
you
have
just
to-
played a croquet straight.
Yeah. So quite rare to see that, isn't it?
It is, yes.
James just took that shot, sort of thinking, well, whatever he missed, Samir was going to go round, didn't he? So he just took the shot that made it easiest for himself if he made it okay.
I assumed he had a little bit of a target.
Do you think?
Yeah, probably extra quarter ball
Okay.
or eighth of ball. And when you start with a ball at your hoop and the other 3 balls together, you really need to be thinking about this popping turn that I mentioned. This popping means peeling the opponent. And Rob is always going to go to 3 back, peeling opponent, in this case blue, through hoop 1, through hoop 2 and to hoop 3. And Samir is one of the bigger poppers in the English set of players. So
And why is that a benefit?
no, it means if James hits in with his hoop 1 ball, he can't really just go and make a sextuple leave because it starts on hoop 3. So he takes that out of play. It means that if he goes to 4 back at any stage, he's on 3 and 4 back, and he's got a delayed triple to do instead of a standard triple. And it also means that from a leave point of view, you can get a slightly improved leave that gives you better options after they've had their contact turn.
That
For-
might need further explanation.
For the,
Well, we'll have to see what the leave is before
For
we
the,
do
okay.
that.
for the less experienced players, it might seem a bit of a strange thing to do, to be putting your opponent through their hoops.
Absolutely,
because
giving 2 points away.
You're giving them, but at the top level, one of the effects is that it actually gives, if your opponent was to get in with that ball and have to do something more difficult, i.e. triple peel, actually gives them less shots, doesn't it, and less time.
It does.
To be able to do that turn,
Yeah,
which makes it more difficult for them.
The other thing it does, which most handicap levels will understand, is if you get your opponents on 2 different hoops, it makes it easier for you to make a leave. So imagine your opponent's on 1 and 1, and you leave balls at 1 and 2. Well, you've left a ball at one of their hoops. If they're on 1 and 3, well, let's say 1 and 2, you can leave the hoop 2 ball at hoop 2, and the hoop 1 ball at hoop 1, and whichever one hits in hasn't got a ball at their hoop
immediately.
So it's always an advantage to have that little ability to manoeuvre balls around. I think he's deliberately leaving blue down there, and you'd normally think about peeling it before hoop 4 or hoop 5, but he'll be taking off to black, getting his break. That's fine, that's a good length shot. Sending black to 3, and then I think he'll be looking at peeling blue before 4 or before 5. So probably a little bit more high level difficulty. If you're talking about diving, it would be a higher tariff turn, wouldn't it? More difficult turn that he's playing, and he's going to get more benefit if it goes well, and if it goes badly and he breaks down because he's doing popping, it's a bit like doing a belly flop. Keith had to excuse himself after that.
So you think he's going to go down there, bring blue all the way up here, presumably, towards black 3, towards black at hoop 3, and then try and send it all the way back down to hoop 1?
I do. The other sort of more precise way is to just send yellow to 4, leave blue as a pivot, after hoop 3 send black to hoop 1, and peel black through hoop 1 going to hoop 5.
Oh, so you're changing over, you think you might be peeling black now rather than blue?
But if he peels black, he can't peel black before hoop 4 very easily.
No.
Whereas he can get the peel on blue before hoop 4. It just makes it easier to get the second peel. So that's again, he's got it in the hoop 5. So that might change his plans altogether, and now he might decide he needs a hoop 4 part.
Do you think?
We'll see.
No, maybe. He might have got the other hoop,
He can't get that to hoop 4 either. So he can still do that.
You can have a go.
Well, I was thinking just stopping it halfway down there and then sending black to hoop 1, get a rush on blue to yellow, yellow to 4, peel black to through hoop 1 going to 5. So that's still a sort of vaguely precise way of doing it. Now, because I don't play Super, I need to try and work out which ball you want at 1 back and which ball you want at 2 back and things like that. It doesn't automatically come into my brain, so we'll see if he...
Well, it depends what sort of popping he does, doesn't it? If he doesn't do popping, I think he's going to stop at 1 back.
Okay, that's it. So I think he was trying to rush that to hoop 6, indicating he's probably stopping at 1 back and not no popping.
Keith will be happy about this if it goes to hoop 6 now. There you go, Keith.
Good shot, wasn't it?
How do you feel about that?
Well, it is an early hoop 6 pioneer, so, but yeah. This is looking a bit loose to me at the moment.
I think it's about to look much better.
It is about to look much better, yeah.
He could just be simply having a basic ball to 3 back with no pops and give contact. The other leave is this very tight cross peg.
If he's going to do that, he needs to somehow get a rush on blue after hoop 5.
Yeah,
towards the peg.
I have a minor preference for making hoop 6 off partner as well. If I'm going to do the tight cross peg.
What, do the cross peg before you make hoop 6?
And have another go at making it a cross peg if you don't get it before 6 and
Yeah.
just rush off the boundary and take off back to them.
So we can have a look.
Yeah, so
I've got this tablet that we might be able to get up onto the screen. I've put the balls. Oh, this is a leave that he could be doing if he's going to stop at 1 back.
okay, so we've got that on screen now. So you're showing black and blue tightly cross pegged so they can't hit each other because the peg's there.
Yeah,
And red would be presumably the hoop 1 ball.
yeah.
Black can't hit red and
Well,
yellow
Uh,
because the peg's got hampering the backswing.
Yeah.
And blue can't
yeah,
hit it
so
because the
I've
peg's
put
in the
blue.
way.
I've put red and yellow the wrong way, haven't I? On that
Yeah,
Well, for this game.
for this,
for this
game.
game, yeah.
But putting yellow there indicates to me he's going to go to 3 back
Or 4 back.
or 4 back. So this is just a boring old 4-ball break, really. Whereas we were anticipating more excitement.
Yeah, you've oversold this.
Yeah, I have.
Chris,
I
to
have.
be honest.
Yeah, one of the things.
I want my money back.
One of the things you can think about when you're playing James is, because you know James is going to do something entertaining, you should probably do something a bit more static and solid against him, and hope just to take whatever little chance he gives you with the likely error that's going to creep in at some stage. So that's the early 2-back pioneer we were talking about last game. So Jack's now going to try and use his little app to show what the contact leave might be. Because we haven't seen a contact leave yet, other than in that pegged out ending by David Gocher.
Yeah.
And that was obviously with only 3 balls on the lawn. And this is going to have all 4 balls still in play. And James is going to have a contact as soon as Samir runs 1 back.
I think one of the general principles of the contact leave is people sometimes think, oh, I need to get all the balls separated from all the balls.
Yes.
Whereas actually you can leave the 2 opponent balls reasonably close together.
So Jack's now put this up on screen, and as
Provided
Keith mentioned,
Provided you don't actually leave them a useful rush.
yeah, and these black and blue balls are sort of a yard each side of corner 4, aren't they?
Yeah,
So they haven't got to rush anywhere, and it doesn't matter that they're close together because they've got
they've
contact.
got contact anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, red is actually in corner 3, so you can't take a lift and rush it anywhere.
yeah. And that's easy to get into corner 3 because it's your striker's ball, isn't it?
So it's the
That's
last
the
shot of
last
the
shot of
turn.
the turn to hit into the corner.
And yellow's normally in corner 2, but you
Yeah.
can opt to move it further south if you want.
Well, Samir's playing to get a rush. He's put black near corner 2, so he can rush yellow probably, yeah,
Into black.
into blacks, which
That's
he
not
did not want to do.
Now the thing I've hardly played Super Advanced at all, but the thing that I've thought about is if I was playing, I'm interested in moving yellow 10 yards south of corner 2 as the contact leave.
Go on.
Well, the normal play is you end up either sending red to hoop 1 and joining up, or you go and guard corner 1 yourself. It just says, well, my ball I want to play is near hoop 1. So anything you send to hoop 1, you can't make that leave anymore. and it makes it fractionally easier to play a really difficult pickup, but it is a really difficult pickup, and encouraging your opponent to play a really difficult pickup isn't necessarily bad. So one of the things that's been mentioned as a negative is black and blue can just take a wild rush to yellow as their contact turn. That doesn't mean it's particularly good.
Yellow would then shoot at red, typically,
Well,
wouldn't it?
or you can corner,
But typically yellow shoots at red.
which is then further away. So it's less
Yeah.
good if you're going to shoot at red. You're almost saying I'm not going to shoot at red if that's the line of play. Or you're hoping maybe they don't get the crosswire and they leave you half a ball, 3/4 of a ball to shoot at near corner 4, which doesn't give that much away.
Is he going to make free back then? Because he's got a choice, hasn't he? He could make free back, or he might decide not to.
Yeah, this is very much personal choice. Both are options.
I mean, James again is somebody who does like a TPO, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
that's definitely something that he would be considering if James gets in with a break.
Yeah. So just stopping one hoop earlier and making it a QPO makes it that much more difficult. So that's one ball just north of corner 4.
So we're going to end up with the leave that we suspected. So we can probably take that down now.
Yeah, you might want to move that another foot further north just to make sure he hasn't got a cut that you can cut to the end of A bulk and then roll off hoop 1. But yeah, I'd like to see what happens when yellow goes further south than corner 2. I'm not saying it's definitely right, but it's something I'd like to see a bit more experimentation with.
Well, he's not making 3-pack.
No.
No.
So black's going to go very much to where Jack's got it on his very well laid out diagram, and then red's going to come up to corner 3. 8 hoops rather than 9 first turn.
And this is the standard leave now, isn't it?
Yes.
If you're first ball round and you go through 1 back, this is the standard leave that's made.
Hopefully people at home can see that this is actually quite a lot easier to make than a diagonal spread or a new standard leave.
There's a lot less precision required, isn't there?
And that's been one of the things that we've been saying. It hasn't really been difficult enough to do something this turn. This is a very basic 8 hoops and a easy to make leave.
Yeah. Partly because blue and black can be a yard out of the corner on each side, 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards.
Yeah, I think I would be taking croquet from red and having a genuine go at getting a rush on black to hoop 1. Because if you go off in corner 4 by overhitting it...
Are you doing a takeoff?
I'm playing a thick takeoff.
A thick takeoff?
Yeah, I'm going to move it 3 to 4 yards.
Okay. I practiced in this case playing blue,
Yeah,
taking off from black to red,
right.
trying to get a rush to corner 2.
So that's quite aggressive, because you're going off near an opponent ball and giving up the innings.
Well, don't go off.
You never go off. So
Never
it's
go
a
off.
cautious attempt.
Yeah. Well, I have got the rush
Right.
on occasions,
Yeah.
but assume you don't hit red, split red north of 1, going to yellow,
and take off.
which is, and then do a thick takeoff, which sends yellow behind 2.
So you're
approaching
hoping to
hoop
get the
1.
wire from red, are you?
You potentially can.
Okay.
Now your position of yellow completely takes that option away, which is interesting.
Well, some people would argue it...
But equally, I'm much closer to hoop 1.
correct.
in
Some
the
people would
takeoff,
argue it makes
so-
it easier. And even if you play a thick takeoff from yellow leaving red in corner 3, you just try to go around from that.
And the good thing about it was a situation that came up time and time again, so you could practice it.
Yeah.
And I did practice it
Yeah.
quite a lot.
He
Yeah.
fancies rushing this to red, Mark.
And if you
doesn't
don't get position at hoop 1, then you can retire to partner on the south boundary, leaving something you can rush to 1.
Yeah.
And the ball that you're sort of saying Well, you can play your hoop 1 ball if you want,
Yeah.
but there is a ball at my hoop,
Yeah.
which is your full-back ball.
So that was sort of a free go at a very difficult cut rush to corner 3, and James has the power to play that.
Just not the precision
No.
on this occasion.
He could just roll over to corner 1 and guard the corner.
Yeah, Rob started rolling really close to the... Well, he wouldn't have done that. He would have rolled along the south boundary and left a tight rush to hoop 1 from effectively the south boundary, as near to in front of hoop 1 as he could get.
Yeah.
The theory being that if yellow hits red, you can't get a
ball.
breakout
No.
easily.
No. James is doing sort of the opposite, and he's going to send red to hoop 1 and join up in corner 4.
Well, is he going to have a go at this takeoff, do you think? He's going to go to yellow and have a go at a takeoff, or is he just going to ignore yellow?
I think when I
don't know.
used to play a bit of this, I'm the only person I've ever seen try
Well, I'm sure he would have
variation.
thought of it. I'm sure it'll be... He might not do it, but I'm
It's
sure...
not a nice north boundary to send your ball along, is it?
Well, that's the thing, and
You are going to the hoop 1 ball,
you
having
are
put a
going to
pioneer
the
there.
hoop 1 ball having put a pioneer at hoop 1, so yeah. I know Paddy Chapman poo-pooed it when I mentioned it to him. He didn't
James
like
doesn't
that
look at
idea.
that.
It is difficult. That's travelling.
That's
On the
okay.
lawn, though.
Yeah, that's fine, isn't it?
That's
Couldn't
what-
have got much more distance on that.
No, it's very good for distance. One argument here is it makes yellow shooting more attractive, because getting a hoop 2 pioneer out can be trickier. But if you do that, you need to take into account James's fabulous stop shot. You can probably get a ball past the peg and get a dolly rush to corner 1 anyway. The thing I've been surprised at watching super advanced games is when you get a position like this, red and yellow always seem to shoot.
Yes.
Whereas if it's the middle of a game and you put this leave out, lots more people would just corner. They feel they have to shoot. And I don't feel I have to shoot here. Red to corner 3, perfectly playable. There's nothing wrong with red to corner 3 here. And yet everyone shoots at something.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm going to corner from this more often than the average player. And so red to corner 3 is very playable. If red is open on black and blue, I'm quite tempted with that. It's not that long. I know it's not the ball I want to play with, but equally with them laying up at your hoop, you can make 1 point.
You can make 1 point.
And a
no
crosswire at
lift.
hoop 1, hoop 4, and lay up in the opposite corner, and your massive favourite then.
Can't see corner 2 quite from here, can we?
No.
Now Samir's been up to the hut. Which manufacturer offers the bench shaft that Samir and Rob use?
That's a good question, isn't
It's
it?
a trimmer,
I think
isn't
it's a trimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Dave Trimmer.
And they're quite individually manufactured, I think, depending on exactly what angle.
Yeah, I think
You
you
want.
can be quite specific, can't you?
Probably the best mallets in the world. Most of the top players tend to use trimmers.
Yeah.
The one thing you should know is that there's quite a long lead time normally. Probably 6 months.
And they are a bit of an investment, aren't they?
for a standard order. A lot of mallets are reasonably expensive, but yeah, trimmer's on the top end. I should mention he did a fantastic job last year when Jenny broke a mallet, and he had 4 days to make her a mallet for the Women's GC Worlds, and he made her a mallet in 4 days.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I've got one. Yeah, I mean Samir's got the airline attachment as well, hasn't he? So he can unscrew it.
Unscrew it and put it in a suitcase.
Yeah.
Because having a 3 foot long plus mallet when you're travelling internationally can be tricky. So these airline shafts that you can undo and effectively break your mallet in two are getting better and better all the time, aren't they?
Yeah.
They used to be a bit dodgy on reconnections, but they're improving.
You'd only need, I'm assuming you'd only want a bent shaft if you was playing with an Irish grip.
I think so, although Ian Demerg uses a sort of Z-shaped kink and he plays standard.
Right.
So he's only got a single target here with red, but what was it? It's probably only 25 yards. Quite takeable. James can't get a ball to hoop 2 immediately, and he'll have to rush to hoop 1 from a little way away, so quite a takeable shot. And we've mentioned the fact that if he hits, he'll make 1 point and make a really, really strong leave.
Yeah, and is he going to have a crosswire at 3-back, do you think?
The crosswire at 3-back is very easy.
Yeah.
The crosswire at 1 is achievable.
Yeah, he's got to go and collect yellow, unless he leaves it there, I suppose.
Ooh. So, 2 obvious lines of play for James. The first one is a QPO, peeling red through the last 4 hoops and pegging it out.
He's got to get a hoop 2 pioneer, hasn't he?
He
Somehow.
needs to pick up a break first.
Yeah.
And the other option, potentially going to 1 back and making that leave you very accurately showed earlier. But let's see if he can pick up a break first. And not many people would do this. Presumably he wants to play black because he thinks black's got hoop 4 in the way of rushing to hoop 1? Or is he rushing directly to corner 2 and just wants a tight rush?
Is it in the corner? Is there any chance that he can rush in to get a cannon?
Could well be in the corner.
I'm confused.
If he rushes...
No, he's doing what we think he's going to do.
Okay.
And yeah, just watch how far James can get red out. Immediately putting it into peeling position. That's a
bit of a declaration of intent.
Yeah. Hasn't got a great rush to yellow, and he's overcut it. He's going to get off the lawn, but he's got this dodgy corner 2 that we don't like, that hills off.
He should be okay, shouldn't he?
You can see
looking on the camera
that they've aerated the lawn. You can still see where they've taken the cores out and they've filled it with sand probably and seed, and just tried to get a bit more grass coverage, and it hasn't quite taken as well as other parts of the lawn, so it's get a little bit quicker. And
it doesn't look like he's in the corner though, does it? It looks like he's got another foot or so.
A foot, yeah.
Space.
Yeah. And that is a handy space,
Yeah.
that extra foot, isn't it?
This will potentially banana off the
Hard banana?
possibly a hard banana, yeah.
And he wants to play a thick takeoff.
But he can see it. He's quite aware of it.
He's played it expecting
gone.
hill, isn't he?
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
It's on.
almost
It's
good.
gone.
It's good. It's only pointing at the peg, but he should be able to rush that south of hoop 1, shouldn't he?
I'm getting excited now because if he does make hoop 1, he's got a rush peel on this red.
You'll love your rush peels, don't you? I think that is a super shot. I know it's short, but
He's managed
that's
to do.
very good from where
What's
he
he
was.
done though? Because he's done something.
Blue
He's
hit
promoted black as well.
He has.
Which was lucky, I think.
Very, very good. Oh, he's just fun to watch, isn't he? Fun to watch. Super shot again. The distance he gets yellow forward, playing at a wide angle split. It's really, really good. That's one of my hoop one shots.
It does look like it's hampered,
I
doesn't
think
it?
he's better at these than I am.
No, it's not that hampered.
It's open, is it? Oh right, I thought he had to play through the hoop. So he can just take off behind black now, can't he?
Yeah.
You don't think he's going to red?
Red and play a big role going to black.
It's
I
the
don't
sort
know,
of thing that he'd
I
do.
don't think so. I don't think so, no.
It's the sort of thing that James does, isn't
No,
it?
I think he's just
not
going to make
to.
hoop two.
I don't think he's going to. No.
Do you think it should be a QPO then? Now, you know, we're in this position
I do.
rather than stopping at one back.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
at Hurlingham, if I've had a couple of sextuples
That's good.
already, lovely, super shot,
Excellent.
then I'm going to go to one back. And one of the great things I think about Super Advanced is it would have got a comparatively moderate defensive player like myself to go for more sextuples, particularly in conditions like this. But here I think I probably would be QPOing. Certainly don't want to go to 3 back or 4 back and give contact and just give the innings away. So he's going to try the peel going to yellow, I think, now.
No. Would you?
I wouldn't.
Ah, okay, good.
I mean, the normal
wouldn't
thing is to do is to peel red before hoop 4, isn't it?
Yeah, you can do that.
You know, so the old standard thing of peeling red after hoop 4 is now sort of outdated, and you peel red before hoop 4. But James is the sort of player that could easily decide he
There's a rush
fancies
peel
it.
on here,
There you
Joe.
go. I told you, didn't I? I called it. He's going to go for this. Here we go.
This is dead if you finish in the middle of the hoop here.
Oh yes.
If
Yeah,
you,
he's
miss,
missed the hoop
if you miss the
completely.
hoop, you can just send it back down there, so it's not too bad.
Oh, that's a bit of a letdown.
Obviously, getting it, rushing it all the way up to yellow is fantastic, but it doesn't meet my criteria of taking the bad results out of play. That needs to travel. He's got the line wrong as well, so now he's got a backward takeoff. Very good red. Can probably just rush that past the outside of the right wire and rush it in front. But it's not as good a red as it was if he hadn't have gone to it at all when it was perfect.
I don't think he'll go to that red before hoop 4 now, will he?
Really? Well, that's significantly putting the QPO behind schedule. Another good shot. He is good at those.
I mean, going to red now is you've got to get close enough to it, haven't you, to, like say, rush it into position.
If you don't, you can just hit black.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's
Amazing.
worth a go.
I don't know. I mean, it looks like you can play it to the right of the hoop.
He is looking at red, isn't he?
No, I'm going to play black now.
Okay.
Worth a go though. So black's his escape ball. He's going to make hoop 4 off red, putting it the other side so he can peel it through 3 back after making the hoop. Oh dear, he's got some hill there. Now that means this is going to be angled now. And in an ideal world, you want to peel this most of the way up to 4-back. This is definitely angled.
You can cut that.
You can.
Yeah.
Well,
Still not straight.
Could have done with another ball, couldn't it? Stephen,
Wonder what the viewing figures are. Wonder if words got out that James is on.
Stephen made this peel look easy, didn't he, yesterday?
easier than the hoop anyway. So he's got the peel, but red's only through by about a foot.
Yeah.
So getting it up to 4-back now to get the 4-back peel before 6 is, it's not going to happen. So you're peeling 4-back going to 1-back now.
Yeah.
Could potentially stop at 1-back still.
I don't think so.
What do you mean? You don't think he will?
I don't think he will. I think
No.
it's a legitimate
But you could.
thing to think
Yeah,
about.
Yeah.
He's got the sort of right polarity of the balls, so he's got partner at 6, so he could make that leave we spoke about earlier.
I mean, he's made it easier, hasn't he, for Samir now?
He could
He's
just
done the
make a
first
diagonal
peel.
spread, couldn't
But-
he?
That's a strange shot.
That's indicating to me that James thinks he can rush yellow
Yeah.
to the south boundary. He can play a stop shot good enough to get yellow in a place where it's an escape ball for his 4-back peel to 1-back, and potentially cut rush red into peeling position.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's sufficiently high percentage to justify. And now when he doesn't get a rush on yellow, it's really ugly. So he has to cut this on the right hand side up towards 4-back and then move it westward going to red. And that's not nice.
Or just make one more hoop.
Or make one more hoop, yeah. Yeah, so that's the right way to rush it. So he can play a thick takeoff, moving it anywhere between sort of 8 and
This is going to
20
be a roll
yards.
though now, isn't it, from
Trouble with
red?
these turns, I lose track of which balls are pioneer for which hoop. This is a 1-back pioneer, isn't it?
this is the 1-back pioneer yellow, yeah.
Yellow will be, yeah.
And here you've just got to make sure you finish short of red. Can't finish crosswise from it. And just roll it up to 4-back going to black. And that's
Oh
the
dear.
wrong side.
Yeah,
This is-
yellow
that is
should have
not
gone
the
another
right side.
3 yards.
This is not good, is it?
So now I am stopping now.
Stopping.
I'm stopping. Jack's play stopping at 1-back is completely legit. Should be able to get a spread out of this. Then next turn you do a TPO. You can do a sextuple if you want, but do a TPO.
Not convinced James is
No.
stopping.
He's playing to rush over after 6 then,
Yeah.
and put black to 1-back
Yeah.
in his approach to 6.
Yeah.
He could put it to 1-back, or he could just put it, 3 yards behind hoop 6. They're both sort of okay.
But it would then become the 1-back pioneer.
Yeah.
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 So I told you it's hard to keep track of which ball's the pioneer for where.
And that's more than a stop shot for James. That's definitely sort of a little bit more than a drive even. He's played it really well. But running this with control to get a rush on red to 4-back is tricky.
Sure.
He's played it well.
Yeah.
So he should be able to rush this 2 to 3 yards in front.
Yeah, you just want to be able to have a go, don't you?
Play it with a straight stop shot.
Exactly.
You're not worried about trying to rush it too close. You just want to rush it in front.
Good shot.
Great shot.
Yeah.
And yeah, all you focus now on the peel.
This is the contrast between James and David Gocher, in my view. I love David to bits, but he does make the game look difficult.
Right.
Whereas James makes the game look quite easy at times.
Quite a lot easier than it actually is, I think.
Yes, indeed.
So, be playing this dead straight, no pull, and there is a little bit of slope near hoop 3. Don't want to peel it off the lawn.
No.
He's lucky it's finished there, I think, because that was middle of the wire, wasn't it?
That was.
Yeah.
It did move that way though. Is that the way you thought the hill went?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, it did go.
Not sure it
went hard,
do you
right?
reckon?
It went to the right hand
I
wire.
think so.
Yeah. So I think he's going to send out a genuine pioneer
He's
now.
back. He's got a break again now though, hasn't he? He's not going to get any sort of pop on yellow, is he?
No. Oh, I don't think so. That's a lovely croquet stroke. That is a super, super shot.
Yeah. It is. So presumably he's backing himself to rush peel red here, in which case black can go to 3 back.
Yeah. Yeah. And he'll try and peel penult before 4 back, I think. Probably doesn't want to rush peel red by more than a yard or so.
We don't have instant access to the comments at the minute on YouTube. The device is charging, so we might not be replying to you quite as quickly as we were.
And this is certainly more than a stop shot for James, isn't it? He needs to put a little bit of drivey rollness in to get the black ball past.
So is he going to be taking off from red then, or is he going to...
He's going to take off from red. He's probably not going to try and rush it more than a yard, maybe 2 yards through the hoop. You don't really want it on the north boundary, as he rushed it off the north
There we
boundary.
go, he's going for a roll.
Really?
Don't you think? You got
No.
He's going to be going for his
Behave.
jaws.
Really, you think so? I'd prefer yellow 2 to 3 yards closer to me if I was going to do that. And you know, you can take off from the right hand side of it and nudge it in a yard,
You
which
could
helps.
roll it down just towards 3 back somewhere, couldn't you?
Yeah, you don't have to roll it at penult. I mean, one of the good things is there's nothing really in the way. You know, the peg's well out of play, but if you finish 4 yards away from it, you're going to hit it a long way away from the hoop, aren't you?
Yeah.
This is a quite a sensible conservative play. You do want to get red in the lawn a bit though.
Well, you want to be able to rush back to it as well, don't you? After 2 back.
Yeah, you have to rush back to it after 2 back.
So you need to be nice and tight
Why
around
has that
2
gone
back.
down? Has he crosswired from
Good
your
length.
Has he crosswired?
No,
It's
it's
approached
got
the
the
hoop.
Run the hoop.
Run the hoop.
Approached the hoop. Okay.
I actually thought when I was looking at yellow that yellow was north of the hoop,
Right.
but now he's got a rush back. Can he avoid yellow hitting hoop 1?
This would be a hell of a shot if he can get it anywhere near red now.
He's got the power to do it.
Yeah.
Has he got the rush peel? Was that a cunning rush peel? Oh, what a shame. That would have been a good rush peel. To
That
get.
would have been good.
You'd have been pleased with
I
that,
would.
Jack, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that would have made my day.
So now he can roll yellow into escape ball position, but the difficulty is getting red there.
Is he going to try and get behind it?
And it
He will,
depends
won't
on
he?
whether he fancies the roll out corner 3.
He's going to try and get a rush on this red, I think.
The roll out corner 3 is playable. I should say pass roll really, because the back ball's got to go a lot further than red. Right, blue is short.
He
Yellow's
was going
very
for a
good.
rush though,
Yellow's
wasn't he?
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, he just needs to pick a spot. I think, you know, corner 3. he's cut it up, so he's going to be playing a wider angle now, which will help with the roll. I just think it's a little bit more difficult to control.
Again, this is a manufactured shot. You don't
Yeah,
normally play.
I think that's where we have to disagree, because I think James will have played this a lot
Okay.
in
Well,
completely different circumstances, but he will have a massive range of croquet strokes that he's played before that most people haven't. And one of the things I did when Jenny was improving was I encouraged her to play every big croquet stroke that was on offer,
right.
just to get the hang of where things go. So red to Penalt, blue down to black. Red's a tiny bit far,
Blue's pretty good.
blue's excellent. You want to rush out of 3 back, so blue's very good really. and red is fine. Looks like Harry's making some points on lawn 3, so good to see him getting back in the action.
I don't know if I've ever noticed before, but James has his hands the other way around, doesn't he?
James is left-handed.
He's left-handed, right? Yeah.
No, we had a New Zealand McRobertson Shield team that had 5 left-handers in it.
Left-handed, actual left-handed, or left-handed for croquet?
Left-handed for croquet.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other bits.
Because if you're right-handed, you usually have your right hand at the bottom, don't you?
You do. That's the standard way to do it anyway. So lovely control out the hoop again, showing his really good stop shot, giving him that extra room to run 3 back into. And black a couple of yards south of the hoop, a little bit to the west. I think Keith and myself were saying you could send it another yard south.
Yeah.
He's rushed that in front, just about.
Do you think we're on a QPO, aren't we? So is it much better to get this peel, or
No.
You're not worried if it's
No,
in the jaws,
I'm
are
not
you?
worried if it's in the jaws. He's doing what you said the other day. We never do this, do we?
No, we do. Well, apart from, because you're not going to rush that to Rover now, are you?
No.
You're going to rush it back.
No.
But the other thing is, the more gently red is moving, the more likely it is to
Jaws.
stick
In the jaws, yeah.
And he didn't do the key thing with the shot, which was get a good rush to 4 back. And James plays those hoop approaches
Very
just like I do. He uses a maximum width, so you're almost having to hit it a bit less hard than some people hit it. That's managed to go all the way through, over the fence, hit a wall and bounce back towards him. So he's taking his sweater off. He's got a useful rush. Keith's already mentioned that he's going to end up getting a rush on red north of black, so he can croquet it down there, and that's the right decision. He's going to be making Rover, well, off red more than anything, but black's not going to be down there at all. What leave are we expecting?
What do you mean black's not going to be down there?
Well, black's not going to be potentially. Black should be at the peg, so he can peg.
He hasn't done the peel yet, has he?
Well, no, but
You're just going to do the Rover peel with 2 balls, are you?
with 3 balls, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to
One
take
escape.
Yeah, one escape.
one
ball,
escape
yeah.
ball. So leave black near the peg as an escape ball for the peg out. Again, another big advantage of James's stop shot is he can play this next shot from closer to Rover.
That was got away with that.
That's very close. So most people can't play this, and James will be fine. I think we saw, was it Gabrielle playing it from 4 yards further north yesterday?
I think he will take black down to Rover.
Do you?
You certainly can, can't you? Because you can play to rush black to the east boundary.
I mean,
Yeah,
it makes
I
the
wouldn't
leaf
do
harder,
that.
doesn't it?
I wouldn't do
Well,
that.
well, not now he's put red there. That's
That's a
perfect,
super
isn't
shot.
it? So yeah, you can leave.
Sure. I mean,
Black at
if
the
red
peg
was
now.
a bad ball, I probably would take
Yeah,
black down there.
but
You're
yeah,
right.
if
yeah.
red's perfect like that, you don't need it, do you?
I was probably giving James too much credit, just expecting red to finish exactly where he wanted it.
No, I was just thinking if it was me, you know, wouldn't be there, would it? So.
Well,
I'd
you'd have
need
tried
it.
to rush peel it. You'd be happy. Makes it a lot easier if you rush peel it here. You can put it straight
Yeah,
to
we
the peg.
we could still have one, couldn't we? Is he going to go for it?
So he has taken black down there.
He's going to put it back up now, though, is he?
Yeah, he's going to put it back up because he can't get it to a
No,
position
he's
where.
not.
No, it's not.
Where's he going to rush it to then?
I don't know. I'm surprised by
He's
that.
not interested in this pop, is he?
He's going to pop yellow. He's going to pop yellow. He is, isn't he? He's going to pop
He's
yellow.
going to pop it going.
And then he's going to rush black off the lawn, and then he's going to rush the peelee to the peg.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right.
Yeah, black's his escape ball. No.
Oh, maybe. He's got enough room to rush yellow in front of one.
What's happened here?
Oh, killed. So he has to Irish this now, I think. Ideally with blue finish in the jaws.
Yeah, if he finishes in the jaws, he has got a chance of getting a rush on yellow, hasn't he, to in front of E1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on. It's on, I think.
He can hit black, but
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any popping yellow anymore.
no. And he's not going to
hit
get.
black first, I think.
He's going to hit black, and he's going to have to try and get it as close to the far boundary as he can, isn't he?
Yeah.
You don't want to leave it on the west side, do you?
No.
Even on the boundary.
No, he's going to croquet it to try and get hoop 4 in the way of the approach to hoop 1.
He's just going to rotate this, isn't he? Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a rush on yellow to red.
Yeah. And because he's got contact anyway, it doesn't matter leaving yellow on a bolt climb.
No, yellow can be anywhere.
Yellow
can't
can
it?
be
As long
anywhere.
as it hasn't got a rush.
So these are good. If you can get this within a yard of the boundary, you've played a cracking shot. And that is perfect. That is such a good shot.
Yeah.
That's on the
Very
yard
good.
line.
And
Fantastic
a
shot.
spot on rush to red.
There have been so many good shots this turn that he's made look just routine.
Yeah, the sequence around 6 and 1 back where he switched the balls around and ended up with a rush to in front of 4 back with a 1 back pioneer. That's what's really sorted him out on this turn.
So we're making the assumption blue's going to finish in corner 2. Yeah, nice rush to the peg.
Could have been a bit closer. The thing about QPOs is you still haven't won the game though, have you?
Oh no, this is... Yeah, it's not far away from 50-50. It's probably
No, what is
60-40,
it? I was going to say
think.
60, yeah.
Yeah, very good. And blue will go to corner 2. And depending on how much hoop 4's in the way, Samir might just take contact with black and roll off hoop 1. Or he might take off from blue to black and try and just nudge it a little bit so hoop 4's not in the way of the approach. Lovely turn. It was excellent.
Yeah. Bit of a round of applause.
You can see James is taking it seriously because he's not pegged 2 balls off.
Yeah. Interesting that Robert Fletcher was doing that quite a lot last season. It'd be fascinating in the next Worlds and the Mac to see whether he's going to continue to do that or whether he's going to expand and do more sextuples. But it was nice to have that variety. It gave lots of interesting games, and I certainly enjoyed it. I was probably the first person to start doing it on a regular basis in the 90s, and just have a 2-ball game 1v1. I always fancied that.
So the reason that James was going for a peel on yellow fruit 1 is to try and stop what's called a squeeze, isn't it?
Yeah, so to explain what a squeeze is.
Well, I've
Jack.
put it on the graphic. Hopefully we can pull it up.
Oh, right, okay. So if he rolls up to hoop 1 here and he doesn't get in front, then he takes position with yellow.
Yes, so this could be the state of the lawn at the end of Samir's next turn. So he's got position in front of hoop 1, and he's got black somewhere in the middle and blue untouched in corner 2.
And whichever ball black and blue moves, he can run hoop 1 to the other one.
Yeah,
Even if it's 6 yards away from blue.
yeah. I mean, he's trying to approach hoop 1, isn't he, in this
Yeah.
shot? So in this turn he wants to run hoop 1, but if he doesn't approach hoop 1, he can end up with this position, and usually you'd expect black to move, wouldn't you?
Black to corner 4 is
Yeah.
standard, isn't it?
But let's see what he's doing. He's going for a position at hoop 1.
I tend to put black 4 to 5 yards further north than you've got it.
Yeah.
Because I like hammering hoop 1 off the north boundary and hitting blue.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a much better hoop 2 pioneer where you've moved it to there, but he's underhit that. And even if he takes position that black can hit here,
Yeah.
it's not a very attractive shot for black to take, is it?
No,
Although it is a winning shot potentially, because it's
Yeah.
the hoop 1 ball.
it's not. If black misses, it's giving Samir a 7-yarder again, isn't it? For an easier approach to hoop 1.
Yeah. And so-
You'd usually expect black to move over to corner 4 somewhere.
particularly if yellow's not in front. So yellow's not in front. You can join up now in
You
corner
could
2.
Black could join up, couldn't it?
Equally, I've seen lots of people play black to corner 4 not being willing to join up ahead of Samir's break.
Yeah.
So very much personal preference.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get another opportunity to do some more on the graphics.
Yeah, I
In
don't
this
think.
game.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to shoot here. It's completely open. I don't think he's going to shoot. I'm going to join in corner 2.
Are you going to shoot at blue? If you shoot at blue, you've got
I
a
am.
winning chance.
I'm going
haven't
to
you?
shoot at blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James isn't. He's going to bide his time by the look of it.
Excuse me. Walks black off to corner 4. Quite a good touch shot.
While he was walking, yeah.
And it's runnable, is this hoop, but I'd be surprised if he even takes it on.
What are the options? He could go in front of hoop 1, couldn't he?
He could go in front of hoop 1, he could shoot at black. It's a completely safe shot shooting at black.
Is it?
Yeah, black's not going to finish.
You don't think black would try and approach the hoop?
No, black will just take off to corner 2 and
Right,
give you
yeah,
the
just
maximum
join that.
distance.
Yeah.
And you're going to be wired on the boundary ball as well.
Yeah.
I fancy this shot.
Yeah, I mean,
don't-
if he hits this, he's got a very similar position, hasn't he, to what
Yeah.
he's just played?
Yeah, I think if I've just played that shot, next time I am definitely going to have a hoop I can run.
Yeah.
I'm going to be pretty disappointed not to have the first hoop as something I could have a go at. Looking at it, ooh, that was obviously on at one stage. So yeah, if James can take off now to blue in corner 2,
Yeah.
and leave a rush to hoop 1, he's got to leave Samir open on one of the balls.
And does he want to leave himself a bit of space?
And he needs enough space so he can get a ball to hoop 2. But Samir is only open on the in-lawn ball.
Right.
So if Samir hits the longest shot on the lawn, he still hasn't got any room to get a hoop 2 pioneer.
We've got someone on the stream from Cape Town.
One of my favourite places, lovely place. Sylvia. Oh, hello Sylvia.
Sylvia Shaw asking about James's mallet, which we did mention earlier, didn't we? But you might not have been tuned in at that stage.
Yeah, I mean 46-ish inches, maybe 48, and it's got a wooden head with man-made sort of hard end faces, sort of silvery
Right.
End faces. And I'm trying to remember who makes them. Oh dear.
Ooh.
Well,
I think Paddy said it was. I think Paddy might have put it on there, but I can't see it now. George Wood.
George Woods. That's a New Zealand manufacturer. Does a lot of very good value mallets for the Croquet England shop, and I think it's their best-selling mallet. So if you're just sort of getting into the game, it's a good sort of opening mallet to start with. Not too expensive.
It's a good job he hit the peg with black there, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
blue would have been pegged out, but so it's just joined up. And Samir's still got a very long shot, and if Samir misses black or blue, he's going to give a corner cannon away, isn't he?
I don't think Samir's going to shoot, is he?
I wouldn't shoot.
I think Samir's going to stay there.
Yeah, I mean, just staying in corner, well,
Well,
a
then,
few inches out of corner 4.
yeah. I mean, we're super advanced, aren't we? So you get an additional lift hoop.
Maybe,
Hoop 4.
maybe, yeah. I think
If
James will be playing a very positive turn to try and pick up a break.
Yeah, if James isn't in the break, yeah.
This surprises me.
He's given James another ball near hoop 1.
I just think James is going to hit blue,
Finish.
thick blue off, 3 or 4 yards behind hoop 2, and approach hoop 1.
I think he'll be approaching hoop 1 mainly.
Yeah, he'll want blue a few yards out of corner 2 before he does that.
He's just played quite a difficult
he
turn,
hasn't.
hasn't he?
He's just plain blue. This is really quite, non-aggressive.
If he was going to do that, why didn't he rush down to corner 1 though?
He's set in corner 3
Yeah, but why wouldn't you want to be in corner 1?
because he thinks Samir might shoot if he lays up at his hoop. This is even if you hit in, I don't want you to have an easy finish
No.
line.
But at the start of the next turn, he's going to be rushing to hoop 1 anyway.
Yeah, but he's going to be rushing to it, isn't he? So, he's hoping to have more control. This is what I think Rob would do this. Rob would say, I'm much better than you. I'm just going to make sure, even if you hit something long, I've still got a chance that you might finish. And there's no need for James to even leave a rush there. You might have both balls wired. He doesn't have to leave yellow a shot here because
He didn't move it, did he?
Samir's responsible for it. Yeah.
See a bit of blue.
Bit of blue. Okay. So Samir will move back to the corner 4 area, I think. Again, it's this balance between trying to get a few inches out of the corner.
He's using this as a shot, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's picking something to shoot at, maybe the corner peg, but he's using this to practice so that when he needs to shoot at a ball, well, he's got the corner peg,
Yeah.
so that's a confidence builder.
I'm just interested if Rob had been.
Would he have left the rush to corner 4?
No, would he have left a rush to the bench?
Well, yeah.
So
yeah,
that you could take
cut
it either way.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the bin or the 2 chairs. Something that you can take either way, and it just encourages Samir not to go to corner 4.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't go to corner 4, he either leaves the ball in corner 1, which
Yeah.
is your hoop, or he puts it at hoop corner 2, which is your next hoop.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a slight improvement James could have made. The optional rush.
Yeah, I remember in that position. So Rob was probably laid up on the west boundary by hoop 1 with a rush towards hoop 1,
Yeah.
and the opponent was in corner 4 or just
Yeah.
out of corner 4, and Rob was taking quite a lot of care
Yeah.
about getting his rush to hoop 1. Did that for a few turns, and then the opponent, I think, was just deeming or whatever, and eventually he just cut his ball into corner 4.
Yeah.
Because the opponent thought he had a rush to hoop 1, and he cut it into corner 4 and got a cannon.
Yeah.
Because the opponent hadn't realised that he wasn't worrying about getting a rush to 1. He was worried about getting something that he was
Optional on.
definitely going to be able to cut into corner 4.
Because it's quite difficult when you've got quite a thin wire and you want your rush to be at hoop 1 and wired, but it's also got to be cuttable to corner 4.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
literally you're missing hoop 1 by an inch.
And that was what Rob was taking the care over.
Correct.
And the opponent didn't quite spot that.
Yeah. And James has rushed towards hoop 1, decided he's not close enough, and he's gone back towards corner 2.
So he just at the minute doesn't want to be laid up anywhere near hoop 1 by the look of it,
No.
in case Samir shoots and hits. And he's seen Samir be quite aggressive, presumably against Robin, so he knows Samir's going to shoot.
Well, I'm going to play just out of the corner here.
I mean, if James was laid up near hoop 1.
Yeah. I just want to play just out of the corner, and I'm accepting the fact that James may dig a breakout at some stage. I'm just going to shake his hand and say well played. I think he's got more chance of making a mistake than me hitting this very long shot.
Yeah, I mean, you are at a disadvantage, aren't you, being a single ball player?
Yeah.
So you've got to accept that to a certain extent.
And from here, there's probably an argument that James should play the blue, rush the black towards corner 2 and lay a dolly rush to hoop 1 that's completely wired.
Yeah. I suppose what James ideally wants is to be laid up near hoop 1 with Samir in corner 3, isn't it?
That would be ideal, but I don't think that's going to happen.
He's not going to be able to get that, is he?
No. So he's clearly got a hoop 4 wire that's in play, and that's the wire he's played for, and he's deemed his last shot. He's got his micro rush to hoop 1.
That doesn't go to corner 4 though, does it? It's not cuttable.
That's I think it is.
You think it is cuttable to
I
corner
think
4?
it is. But the hoop's in the way, remember? A hoop 4. I think he's going to rush to hoop 1 and try and finish. So that's 2 balling 1, 2 and 3. And the key to that is you need to rush south of hoop 1.
He could just go back now though, couldn't he?
He could just go back. Or he could find he's on the wire.
Looks like he might be. This is the kind of position that we were talking about a minute ago.
Now this looks like
Approaching the hoop.
he's just going to make 1 hoop and lay up in corner 2.
Yeah. Which is better, isn't it?
It's fine, yeah. Far easier to attack 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And as soon as he does that, Samir will move to corner 1. That's the downside.
But
So-
if Samir did hit in corner 2, he's not immediately near his hoop, is he? He's still got a rush to hoop 1.
I think Samir's now waiting for his lifts.
Yeah.
So moving off hoop 1 sounds good because you've moved off Samir's hoop. And it is good for that reason, but it does allow Samir now to go back to corner 1 if James moves up to corner 2. And it's much more difficult for James to finish with a ball near corner 1 than it is near corner 4. And as you've mentioned, Samir's potentially getting a lift at hoop 4 as well as 1 back and 4 back.
Is that off?
No,
That's
so
on.
it's
Good shot.
about a foot off the yard line. And it's wired as well. So he's no need again to leave Samir a shot. So yellow to corner 1 is standard here. Again, when we say corner, in the corner is better than a yard out of the corner, but preferably 9 inches out.
He looks like he's shooting at the corner peg this time.
That's in the corner. Tough finishing turn. There's a lot to be said for making hoop 2 and going to corner 3 and leaving a dolly rush to hoop 3 here, because it's quite a difficult choice for Samir then. Does he stay in corner 1 or does he go to corner 2?
Yeah.
We actually saw in that position in the Worlds final Rob moved to corner 2, and I was very surprised by that.
Right.
I thought he was going to stay in corner 1. And Matthew made hoop 3, made hoop 4, made hoop 5, made hoop 6, got his rush.
That was the one that he missed, wasn't it?
Yeah, missed his cut rush to corner 2.
I remember, yeah.
But I was surprised that Rob moved from corner 1 to corner 2.
It's hard though, isn't it, when you're the single, because you're at a disadvantage and you're trying to be defensive. You don't want to give anything away, but at the same time you do have to put some pressure on, because like you say, otherwise the 2-ball player can just join up near hoop 3, and if you stay in corner 1, they could just stay in corner 3 indefinitely.
Well, you get an impasse then, and the impasse favours the single ball player.
Right, okay.
So the 2-ball player won't want an impasse.
But you could be in a position where you're in corner 1 and you get to the position where they're rushing to the hoop, not getting close enough to it, rolling back, and you're not really making any progress.
Yeah.
So there's a certain element when you're the single ball player, you feel like you've got to do some forcing.
Yeah, I was amazed that James made hoop 3 there.
Well, this is what I was going to say now. This is potentially the position where James sets up a rush to hoop 4, doesn't rush close, goes all the way back to corner 3, and Samir has then got a choice. Does he stay where he is?
Yeah, which is why when he rushed to the just south of hoop 3, I thought he could just roll to corner 3 and leave a rush to hoop 3 then. And then when he made hoop 3, he'd be guaranteed to get a rush somewhere he wanted. Whereas he's now a long way away from hoop 4, admittedly wired from yellow probably.
But what are you saying you would do if you say you laid up here, made hoop 3, and then what are you trying to do? Rush to hoop 4?
Well, I'm going to attack yellow straight
Rush
away.
to the corner 1.
Probably try and rush 2 yards north of corner 1 and try and finish that way. Which is probably different to what I would do in a standard advanced game, but I don't want to give the lift at hoop 4.
Because you know there's an additional lift. Yeah.
So I'm going to be more aggressive than I would normally be in a normal advanced game.
How far ahead is James going to get before he thinks about pegging out the blue?
Well, 1v1 back games are very balanced, really.
If he's in front of one back though, and Samir's not in front of one.
It's not bad. I've lost, plenty of games with a 8-hoop lead.
So James is really here trying to force Samir to go to corner 2, presumably.
Yes, it's clearly open.
It's open, is it?
This is an error, because assuming you
There's
don't
no double though, is
hit
there?
hoop 3,
Yeah.
and you go towards the north boundary, black can't turn around and hit you
No.
because you're hampered. So this is an error. It looks from our point of view as if he hasn't got very much at all.
I think he's going to the corner, isn't he?
Is he?
Don't
Oh,
think.
it's bounced.
Is he shooting? No, he's
It's
shooting.
hoop 3. It's hit the hoop.
Oh dear.
That could be terminal. So I think James will hit yellow first here. Stop it towards hoop 6.
Yeah.
And make hoop 4 off partner.
Yeah.
And I expect him to finish.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? It's probably easier here than what he did in the last turn, isn't it? Starting from here is easier than the QPO that he...
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't just go to corner 2 then.
Samir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because James's rush to hoop 4 was quite challenging, wasn't it?
I don't think he would have been able to rush to 4, would he?
He was just going to go down there and
rolled across maybe.
made a leave,
Yeah.
and then Samir would move to corner 3.
Yeah.
Not
But that's what I mean when you are the single ball player, you do get sort of drawn into trying to push things forward.
But shots that are quite difficult. This croquet stroke that James has just played, sending yellow towards 6 and getting a good rush to hoop 4, and then rushing it on top of hoop 4,
Yeah.
which is game winning.
This is ideal, isn't it?
2 just absolutely stunningly good shots.
But he makes it look easy, doesn't
Oh,
he?
he does.
You know?
He does. Just rushed to hoop 5, and he's got a 3-ball break to finish. And in about 5 minutes, he'll be shaking hands and back in the peloton.
What would you give him for, if this was diving competition? It wasn't a belly flop, was it? Was it
It was
a 9.5?
It was a super pickup. And Keith was mentioning earlier, just watching people and they play 2 shots and they've won.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. As a performance, though, what would you give it?
Oh, it's fabulous. It's so fun to watch as well. The pace of play, the aggressive lines of play. Equally, I've got to give James a lot of credit for patience.
Yeah.
In this game, he could have had, 2 back pioneers at 4 back.
Yeah.
He could have taken off and tried to finish earlier. He's played the game really well. And yeah, I just think
Is that
it's
where
good to
you have
watch.
blue on the 3-ball break?
It's interesting. I don't think yellow was quite a good enough pioneer to have blue there. I'd have had it further south.
Yeah, just in
But-
case you don't get a rush.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but from here, remember, he's got such a good stop shot
yeah.
that he can just look how far he's managed to get yellow there. That's another foot further than anyone else. So he gets his rush now, and now he's got a good pioneer. He needn't rush it to the north boundary because he's got his fabulous stop shot. Each shot this black ball moves is tiny. It's just a pleasure to watch, isn't it,
Yes.
Keith? You must have been enjoying this.
Yes, indeed.
Probably the best quality game we've had so far.
Like by some way.
Certainly on lawn 4.
Yeah. I think he's going to get a rush out of every hoop this turn.
So he might be using it as a bit of practice.
That was probably a little bit weak. So he hasn't got a rush out of that. No, he has, huh? Yeah, that's fine. Move it over there. Lovely ball control. Again, people will say, well, yellow's short of 2 back, but it's so much better than a foot past 2 back. Super shot. Blue inside the rectangle again. Nice rush on yellow.
James is going to be on 3.
Is that 6 or 5?
6.
That'll be 6.
Oh, yeah, just reattaching to the peloton.
Yeah.
Jack Good's doing well in the chairman's. He's on 6 out of 6.
And he's had
2
two
TPs.
TPs, very good.
Yeah, excellent. And he's quite a lot further ahead than. Although there's a lot of pig down games by the look of it. David Fuller's on 3 out of 5.
Well, Kibble and Dawson were sort of the form players, and they're doing badly.
Yeah, I mean Dawson's always dangerous, isn't he?
Yeah, Dawson was my pick in the fantasy for that. And I thought everyone would just pick Jack. And you don't get many points, do you, if everyone picks a winner?
No.
But yeah, if you said after 6 rounds that Jack was going to be 166 net hoops ahead of Kibble.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh dear, we seem to have a withdrawal from the tankard.
Well, Jane's withdrawn, that's a shame.
That's a shame. Hope she's alright.
Who's that?
Jane Morrison.
Oh.
Martin Murray doing very well. Lovely to see Martin still being competitive.
I suppose that'll be lunch then when this is finished.
Yeah, I think so. How many of the games have finished? I'm guessing none.
There's no more results. That's what I was just looking at on Croquet scores. There's no more.
So no games
the
can
press,
go
yeah.
on. So there'll be a natural pause when James is finished.
Looks as though Gabrielle's had a TPO against Stephen.
Okay.
On Lawn 1.
Another rush. I think there's so much aspiring top level players could learn from just watching this game. Not just the quality of the play, but the tactics and the pegged out ending. Being some quite good ones out. I didn't like him making hoop 3 when he rushed south of it. I wanted him to just come north of it again. And I didn't like Samir taking the shot he did. I thought just moving to corner 2 looked absolutely fine. James didn't have a particularly good rush to hoop 4, and Samir was likely to be able to move to corner 3 the following turn.
Did you have any idea how much?
Virtually nothing.
Ah, okay. Little rush peel there, chap. So, still favourite?
Well, he's taken a bit more care in that one, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a super game to have on the system.
Yeah,
and,
very good.
You know, good. Lots of coaching material can come out of that. Delightful to watch. So we'll have a little break now, and come back to you with the third round of the day. So round 7, after lunch.
Thank you for your company this morning. We're going to close this session. There's a second session available on the Croquet England YouTube website, which we will go live once we've got players ready to start the afternoon session on Lawn 4. So don't go away, and we'll be back with you in very shortly. Thanks.